I'm just waiting for the thumbs up from tech. Can they hear me online? Do I have to hold the button? Right there. Okay, so I don't have to push the button. And can I get this instead of a megaphone? This is so much easier. Well, first, I want to say thank you guys for taking the time in the cold January Sunday to come out to AGM and everyone that's online for this. This is our kind of kickoff to kind of do a year in review from last year, areas that we've succeeded, areas where we can work on and grow. And it doesn't happen just with one person. Nordecke, as you guys know, is a we, not me. That's kind of the base that we have going forward as far as with the directors working with you guys as the membership, supporter groups, fans, the community overall. So thank you for coming today. You guys, if you don't have an agenda, I don't know where they just went. Did we get rid of them all? Okay, so share with your neighbor. Sharing is caring. Most of these on our talking points are to be interactive. It's not just us talking for 3 hours and then opening for questions. A lot of the things that we have on there, we want feedback. So if you have question, comment, idea, things like that, please raise your hand. We'll make sure we get to you. And then, yeah, we're going to start off with kind of all of our directors going over their roles in the last year, challenges they had, goals that they accomplished, things they want to do next year, and ideas, plans, things that they want to do to get for that. I know it starts off with me and my personal goal updates, but everything I personally have is for the incredible people that stepped up for the director roles, deputy roles, this. My whole position is to support them and their roles, their projects, things that they want to do. I will say this last year, I did not have a deputy, and I learned quite quickly that that is a very daunting task to not have. I know that I am running this year, and I do have someone stepped up to be a deputy to help carry the work. And I do invite anyone that does want to do something, if I were to win this role, step up and be part of that senior leadership, help with tech, because if you know me, computers are not my friend. I need a lot of help, so I rely greatly on this team and the people that work in the back end of the store and the website and ticketing and all of the things. And that is somewhere where I want to work to grow and get even more volunteers into the organizational part, into the coming up with great things like community events, tailgates, uplifting game day, different areas where we can grow our memberships, reaching out to the community, building up partnerships, doing bigger and better TIFOs, finding a better space, getting a broader view out on our social media, all of those things. So those are kind of goals for the next year. And the only way we can do that is with the supporters and fans like you guys. So again, thank you guys for coming out here. I am going to pass this off for updates for the next one. Is it communications? All right. And we're going to bring up Colin for those updates. So thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hello, everyone. I just want to make sure you can hear me in here as well as on the microphone. So hello, I'm Colin. For those of you who have not met me, hopefully I've met all of you at this point. 2025 was up and down year. It was pretty successful. I think the first thing that I want to call out is my transition, and Chris is here. So I'm super thankful that I'm one of the board positions that had an incredibly robust transition package. Chris and Natalie put together enough documentation that I didn't have to text them every day and ask where I was on the website, where I was with the emails and things like that. So I'm incredibly grateful for Chris and Natalie for helping set me up for success, which then came into a learning curve. There were a lot of things to learn, a lot of things that I had to understand were my responsibilities, understand were the responsibilities of the communications director, and really build that out. And after getting everything onboarded, I would say the most impactful thing I did this year was set up the communications team, which includes Allison, who's in the back. She doesn't want me to say that. She's embarrassed that I'm calling her out. But Allison was an incredible deputy to me all year. She helped me with anything I needed. She helped me with graphics, emails. She corrected most of my typos. A lot of those still got through. So maybe this year I will figure out how to get Grammarly or something involved into the website, so we don't have any more ridiculous typos. But I'm super thankful for Allison. That was probably the most helpful thing and the most impactful thing that I did this year was pick up a deputy that cared about the organization and always pushed me to be better and to make sure that we were doing things responsibly and in the right way. And then I would say as an organization and as the communications director, the thing that I'm most proud of this year is when we brought in Wesam this year, we were told a lot of different things from the front office, but we kept their feet to the iron. We kept them pressed, and we actually, I don't want to say we caught them in a lie, but I kind of caught them in a situation where they weren't telling the full truth about MLS policy around flags and crew policy around flags. And because of that, we were actually able to leverage our relationship and our existing relationships with the Athletic and with reporters, national reporters covering soccer for the Athletic. And we were able to get the crew to adjust and change their policy to reflect a new and expansive flag policy that included allowing us to fly at least one single Palestinian flag for Wesam. And so that to me was our greatest accomplishment as a comms team this year, was being able to push back on the front office, hold them accountable for their mistruths or their double standards, and to press forward for our players and our community for something that everyone wanted to be represented with. So that was our big win. Headed into 2026, we still have a lot to learn. We still have a lot to grow. I think it's a good time to say officially on the record that Allison is going to step down from deputy at some point in time. It's been the longest resignation in history. She resigned like a month ago, but she's slowly working her way out. There's a lot to learn. And so Bethany is tentatively set to step in to help with the communications team. So give it up for Bethany. Yeah, so really looking forward to 2026. We've got our Canva Pro account, which was a super exciting thing for us. Our logos, our graphics, our Nordecke properties and everything are all housed in one location. So when the transition happens in the future, the next communications director will be able to have everything collected into one holistic place so they can build on the progress we've made here and to continue to make this an incredible organization and to really spread the word about the great things that this community does. So yes, Norm, what's up?
So one of the other consequential things this year was making Blue Sky one of the flagship platforms that you can be on and sunsetting Twitter. Can you speak to how successful or how much?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question just for the folks in the back?
Yes, of course. So Norm asked about this year we kind of sunset Twitter, X, and brought Blue Sky to the forefront of Nordecke communications platforms. And how that transition went and how we saw that play out with membership. And so the most concrete evidence we have on that was with our mid-season survey. We saw that Blue Sky was our second most active and engaged social media account. That's where we saw the largest growth in followers. And as Chris will tell you, we still have more followers than Inter Miami's entire organization when we were growing. Fuck those guys. Yes, so Blue Sky, we have not, and we do not anticipate replacing the reach that we had with Twitter, and that's just a fact. However, we believe as an organization, and I personally believe that Blue Sky is a place where we can better engage our membership in an environment of collaboration and in cooperation, as opposed to a more hostile or toxic environment. And so with the sunsetting of Twitter, we've really pushed the Blue Sky social accounts. It's significantly grown as we've continued to do that. I think we're up, last time I checked, we were up 30% membership from when we started in 2025, 30% following from when we were up in 2025. And so we're going to continue to use Blue Sky as our feed-based update as opposed to Instagram and Facebook. And so we're really excited about that. And thank you for calling that out on. Yeah.
You have the most followers on
Twitter. That is a great question. That's a great point. We consider that. Yes, of course. The question was, if we have the most followers on Twitter, why don't we turn off the comments and continue to post there? That is a great question. And the reason is because initially we made a tweet to sunset the account, and whether that was premature is up to each person's interpretation. I believe that it was the correct choice. There could be interpretation that it was a choice that was made too early or prematurely or without much consideration for the whole board or the whole membership. And since we decided to sunset the account, we chose, I did later take that point back to the entire board, and we chose not to reactivate the Twitter because we were pressing with Blue Sky. And so it might not be the most prescient to reach memberships, but we felt that it was the best way to continue forward with the values of the organization. Any other questions? Yeah, Chris. Absolutely, yes. So one of the things that Bethany and I have identified for 2026 is we would really like to do a refresh of the update of the website. We'd like to get our mission statement on there. We'd like to get more of an about us page on there, so people who are new to Nordecke, so if we have new members or if we have people who are curious, they can kind of see what we're about, how we engage the community, how we plan to grow the soccer community here in Columbus, and what the value and the mission is of Nordecke. And then we also plan to hopefully, cost depending and a few other things, we would like to transition into maybe a Google workspace to create a better continuity of document retention, email, and collaboration. Because right now we're working in a lot of different places, as you know, to keep things in repositories, but we'd really like to get everything under one system. And so some website work, as well as some potential like administration work on the back end is a huge priority going into as we finish out the off season and then carrying through to the season of 2026. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the question. Anyone else? Anyone else? Well, like I said, my name is Colin. I'm super thankful for everyone coming in today. I'm super happy to be here. Truly cannot do without all of you guys. And so thank you all so much. And who is next? Emily. All right, Emily, that's you.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet, just kind of give an update over what we did this year and what you can look forward to next year. I'm Emily Kegg. I am the community director, and I know most of you have all come out and volunteered this year, and so I'm very grateful for that. We had a huge turnout for our volunteer events, and we had roughly one a month. Anticipate doing at least that much more next year. I welcome any and all feedback on different organizations that you would like to volunteer at. I think we have a good group to start with, but I'm always looking for more options and always wanting to hear feedback on what other people would like to do. So, and I'd like to introduce Valerie as my deputy this year. I think you all know Valerie. But one of our biggest goals for this upcoming year is to have our Pride March participation at 100. So I know that's a big goal. That's twice as much as we did this year, but I think we can do it. So thanks. Does anyone have any questions or feedback for me? Sure. I don't like, I think I hit my goals, but I think there's more things that I can do. And I've learned some things from my experiences that I would probably do different. So I'm going to build on that. Yeah. Colin? I didn't receive any feedback on that, but yeah, I think that maybe something that I could include in the survey this next time, that I can pull that. Yep. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. And I hope to see everyone come out and volunteer.
Go to Paco since Brent is missing. If you see, oh, are you? No, okay. So Brent is missing. If you see,
We're all very good.
let us know, and then we're gonna
Yeah, I don't know if we need to have like a description, a physical description of him put out yet or anything. I am going to kind of look at my notes a little bit, because if anybody knows me, I am the worst at public speaking. So so my name is Francisco Argandiza. I am most of everybody knows me as Paco. I was the interim 2025 match day experience director this year. I stepped in when the elected director decided to make the hard decision and step down. So I don't know how that started. So it was really my honor to be able to do that and to be able to have an opportunity to be the director for the section and be the director for the Nordecke. This position was absolutely rewarding and also the craziest, hardest thing I did probably ever. I at times kind of wondered what I got myself into a lot of times, but we could all agree that the season didn't end the way we wanted it to. We could all agree that this season we would have wished the season to last a little bit longer, but given the opportunity to be the director and to kind of step in and kind of fulfill that role, I wanted to make sure that I was focusing on three really different aspects of communication, diversity, and safety. So I can say without a doubt, and I'm not being biased at all, that I know we have the best supporter group in MLS. So I actually wrote pause for applause in my notes. But good teams come and go, players come and go, coaches come and go. Pause for applause. For booze or last time. All right. But one of the things that I absolutely love, and one of the things that make me proud to be match day experience director, is that while those things happen, it's our community and it's our bonds and it's our friendships and our growth with the club that makes our collective and makes our supporter group different from all the other ones, right? We all love the crew, and what makes that special is what makes us really truly massive. So I'm not originally from Columbus. I'm from Texas. So when I first attended my first, so fun fact again, it says pause for booze.
Oh my God, it does.
It says pause for booze. Oh, I've been planning this out. It says pause for booze. My first game was in 2012. So back then it was called Monterey Stadium, and walking into Monterey, I don't know who was in charge of game day at that point. I don't know who was in charge of whatever, but I walked in, right? I couldn't tell you who the game was. I couldn't tell you what the score was and who the players were, but I could tell you how it made me feel. And since that time, that is my only objective as being match day experience, is be able to provide that same feeling for somebody. There's always a new person in Nordecke. There's always a new person at a game. If we can, somebody gave me that feeling, right? 12 years later, here I am standing in front of you guys as match day experience because of that feeling. If we could provide that for somebody else, if we can give that to somebody else, then that is what the goal is, right? Because that's our future. That's our future. So somebody much more eloquently than me said, do cool shit. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do cool shit. So anyway, the three areas that we kind of focus on, because I kind of came in kind of late. Inclusion. I think this year we do have a set of 6 capos that we normally use. You guys usually see them if you come to games. But overall, we've had more than almost close to 20 people, 20 different people that kind of went up there and for the first time asked to be up there. I think one of the hardest things that folks kind of do is to be able to ask, like, how do you get up there? How do we do that? So anybody that asked me, I did my darndest to get them up there, and we got close to 20 new people up there. One of the focuses for next year, because the number one question that I get every single year is, how do you capo? So one of the things I like to kind of focus on, there's no really direct lineage to do that, but to be able to have it written down or somewhere where we can kind of direct folks to say, listen, you want a capo? Great. Everybody started differently. I started differently. I started with TIFO. I came out and I asked the same question, right? How do I get more involved? I emailed Nordecke, and Nordecke emailed me back and said, hey, come out to TIFO and do some painting. Brian, Illinois was one of the first people I met and got me out there. And through that, hey, listen, the relationship the relationship may not be as great, but he's wearing a 49ers jersey. But hey, there's my guy. There's my guy. But that was my path, right? And 3 or 4 years later, here I am, being able to do this. So the path for everybody's a little bit different. But if we can get them more involved with the collective, we can get them more involved with the section, come out, volunteer. There's plenty of opportunities to do that, right? Like we have town halls, we have monthly board meetings that you can come out to. So I'd like to be able to at least have a clearer path so we can be able to kind of answer that question for folks. We had a bunch of different nationalities up there this year. We had a bunch of representation from the LGBTQI plus community up there. We had folks as young as 16 all the way up to how old you ever think I am. Like, I don't know. But we had, so there was a huge age range. So the second part of that is communication. I don't know if anybody's ever been in the section and you try to talk to somebody at least one row ahead of you. It's impossible. And communication ends up being the number one thing for us, just to be able to communicate and get that part out. We have an amazing communications team that put up with a lot of my garbage during the week. Hey, all right, yeah. You came in right when I was floundering. I'm kind of floundering. But our communications team was really great and really did it. They did an amazing job helping me try to get information out to the collective and to everybody for game day. I want to be better at doing that for 2026. We got to utilize our social medias a little bit more. We got to utilize that ability to interact better with the collective. Match day is just not me, it's everyone. And we all have ideas of what it should look like. We may not all be on the same page of those ideas, but trees don't grow up and down. They have branches, right? And if you're out here on an idea, if I can get that idea to at least grow a little bit more and get to you where we at least can be on the same page, and that I think that's a wonderful idea. As long as we're moving forward, right? And we should always be moving forward as a collective. So that's one thing I definitely want to figure out how to do a little bit better next year, and hopefully we can kind of do that. It's going to be a work in progress, like everything is. It's brand new, so I also may not be good at internet stuff. And the last thing, and I'm not going to kind of harp about it too much, but safety is a huge component of our section. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of whatever. Safety over the last 2 or 3 months has become more and more important every single day. All I'm going to say about is this: please take care of each other. Listen, we all love the crew. We're all there for a good time. We're all there to have a safe space. Make it a safe space. If you see something, listen, look at me, find a board member, find a blue shirt, find someone in the stadium security, whatever. But we need to start taking care of ourselves, both in the section and outside the section. Be vocal about it. That's one of the things that we are. We are massive and we are loud, and we should be taking care of each other. This is our community. And we should be taking care of each other. So again, my name is Paco. I was a match day director. I'm on the ballot this year, so feel free to vote for me. I won't take up any more of your time. If you guys have any questions, I will answer them. Yeah.
Talked a lot about capos. Is there anything you were able to accomplish working online? Just like the second big part of the experience.
I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to all of it. I've been real fortunate that for the last 2 or 3 seasons I've been able to kind of get up there and get to know Norm and get to know Norm a lot more intimately this year, and being able to kind of work together. I think that's something that being a novice, kind of coming into the section and not really understanding some of those things, and kind of going through them and with growth. To be able to really sit down prior to games, prior to matches, and kind of be able to really have an idea of what that routine is going to look like for that game, right? So a lot of those times I left that to more senior folks that understand it a little bit better. Now that Norm and I have had a growth period I think now I'm able to kind of walk into that a little bit more and have a better understanding of what that kind of looks like. Because he is definitely the master of that. So. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, yeah.
Energy on the top end and being extremely there are multiple times people around me are like, something's happened in the 8th minute because that guy scared me. I don't know what it is, but something's happened.
Okay.
So it was in some idea that there was some fan in there.
Yeah, I don't want to run up and down the aisles trying to scream out instructions 5 minutes before the game. But yeah, that's what I was kind of talking about, just being better with communication. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think my time is up. So thanks, you guys. I appreciate you. And I'm going to hand it to you, Brent.
All right. Well, I have no idea where we are in the agenda, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about right now. Just general updates? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, year in review. So, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, creative. I feel like we had a pretty good year this year. We got a lot of big displays done. Felt like a miracle a lot of the times, but not to steal words from some of our favorite front office people. Yeah, we had a lot of new people come out. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it felt like a pretty good year. Started off a little bit rough, not gonna lie. Kind of figuring out some of that process and learning how to do the entire project front to start and the timeline of that. Definitely was a learning curve with it, but I feel like as the year went on, we got better and we're able to put out some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I don't really have a lot else to say, but questions, Norm? Yeah. What am I proud of? Good question. One of the things that I feel like went really well, as I said, we had, I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but there were over 100 different individuals that came out to participate in TIFO. I think it was like 35 or something like that were like first time, never participated in TIFO. So that was pretty cool for me. Really proud of the 30-year display. Think that thing turned out great, and it was probably my favorite thing that we did all year. So worked with a couple of first-time artists, and being a first-time creative director and also trying to walk people through the process of creating a TIFO that had never done it was a little bit interesting at times, but it worked out well, and I feel like we got some cool stuff out of it. So yeah. What do I hope for the future? Hope for a new TIFO space ASAP. Yeah, can definitely do that. So the TIFO space is challenging on a number of levels. For starters, it's too small for the work that we do. We cannot lay out a full panel to be able to paint it in that room. So it slows everything down and makes everything take a lot longer than it really needs to. So just logistically, it doesn't work. The other challenge that we're now running into is that we're having some problems with our landlord. And it seems very obvious that they really don't want us in there, even though they're not taking us out. But they're creating some headaches for us. So the newest thing that just found out on Friday, we're no longer allowed to hang panels from the ceiling to trace. That, yeah, fire code apparently, something. Yeah, all the wires and stuff coming out of the walls is fine. So number of challenges that exist with that space. So we really do need to find something ASAP. Been looking for a year. We got close once. And then in the process of trying to work with the property manager, that building ended up selling and the person buying it didn't like the lease rates that they were using. So that fell through. Still looking, got a couple of leads maybe that we're going to be talking about that are a little bit smaller than we want, but they are significantly better than what we have right now. So they are being as collaborative as they ever are, in that they say they are working on their end, but never provide any updates, never share any information. Lip service, absolutely. We have a call scheduled with them next week, our regular call, and that is one of the questions that we'll be asking. Like you've said, you've been working on this for over a year now, not gotten any updates from you. Where are we on that? I will say that they did significantly increase their budget for the TIFO space. Still not a level that will actually get a space that we really need, but it is more than they were giving. So good question.
If we find a new space, would we be moving current ghosts to the new space, or would we get a new ghost?
That's a great question. We figured out the other day that the ghost does not belong to the space. It's actually just following Emily around. So it's really up to her. Yes. Yeah.
A little bit about the past year, working around materials and cooperation. So replacing damaged materials and
So replacing damage, I assume you're referring to nets. Yeah, so they actually did replace the nets. We got 3 new of the larger size nets. Yes. So not really an issue in there. However, the rigging system is one of the challenges. I know I said last year when I had like first announced that I was gonna run for this because nobody else was, and that was still the case this year. That what I had kind of envisioned was doing fewer displays but larger displays. One of the challenges with that, and the reason that that didn't necessarily happen the way that we wanted it to, was not fully understanding what the rigging system looks like and what it's capable of, and trying to work with the front office on that. I asked for an entire season to get some sort of like schematic or diagram or something that shows the layout and what it can do. That is what we have found out, even though Tice insists that they had it and that he would get it to me. Still don't have it after a year of asking. They are apparently doing quarterly tests of the full system now, and they did one in October, even though they didn't invite any of us out to see it. Supposed to be doing another one in January. That is another question for our FO call next week. Oh, is that it's an OSHA requirement? That's interesting. Okay. So they're supposed to be inviting us out for that. Haven't received anything. Send an email. Haven't heard back. We'll be asking about it on the next FO call so that we can see what that rigging system looks like in full use and know what we can do a little bit more with the layering and the 3D effects of using stuff in the front and stuff in the back. So yeah, I don't know how effective our measuring tapes will be on the rigging system in the air, but we can definitely try it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Fortunately, Bethany has agreed to sew all of our TIFOs in one day. Everybody give it up for Bethany. No, I mean, we can always use more people who know how to use sewing machines. That was one of the challenges that I alluded to at the start of last season, was figuring out how to use a sewing machine as somebody who had never used one. So yeah, I think I wrote something even in the election thing about if you had told the kid that started going to crew games in 2008 that somehow this soccer team would lead to learning how to sew, like that just would have made no sense. But here we are, like, we do what we got to do. But if you have experience sewing, we're always going to welcome more people who know how to do that, so that we don't have the same 3 to 4 of us like sitting down to do that all the time. Also, like graphic design and art stuff. If you want to design a TIFO, like chat with me, because always welcome the new people on that as well, so we get some different designs and stuff like that. Yeah.
People want I'm just not like to do it anymore because I'm down to one working machine. I can't use it.
That's fair. We have a stack of 7 or 8 dead machines. Actually, most of those have been repaired now, I think. So we have a lineup of sewing machines. Yeah. But that's cool. I appreciate that. Because having somebody teach how to sew is probably better than sitting down and breaking 3 machines trying to figure it out. Yeah.
In terms of the permanent display rail banners that are being replaced.
So we got most everything out of the closet and brought it back to look through it, inspect it, and see what needed to happen. Most of them just needed some patches around the grommets, and that work we've gotten finished. There are a few that we either want to see if we can touch up with paint or just completely remake them. Most of those are like legacy banners, like Kirk and some of the past players and stuff, legend players. So we want to get those really taken care of. But other than that, they were actually in better shape than we kind of thought they would be for the most part. So, yeah. Yes. So I just said that we got most of them out of the closet to bring them back for inspection. On the day that I was heading in there to pick them up, got a very friendly message from somebody in the FO pointing out that there are certain banners that once they leave that stadium will not be allowed back in. Even if they leave the stadium to be repaired and be brought back, they will not be allowed. Won't give us a list of which banners those are, but we can probably all guess. Exactly. So we are trying to figure out how we can either repair what needs to be repaired in the closet or alternate ways of getting banners in. This isn't. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, just kidding about that. We're not doing that. That is one of the questions for our Thursday call, what that process is going to look like with new Ty. If that stuff still goes through him or if there's somebody else. And being that, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of overlap here with some other stuff later on, but yeah, so some of our banners we were not able to bring out of the closet to be repaired. Yes. The reason is that so we were told, right, that certain designs were grandfathered into the policies, right? Anybody with common sense would think that that means that design is grandfathered in. Their logic now is that it is the specific banner that is in the closet that is grandfathered in. So that is the reasoning. Now I will say I was being serious when I said I got a friendly message from somebody in the front office because that person did not have to tell me that and could have let those things walk out the door with everything else. And then made it an issue later. He told me that before I got there so that we could avoid it for now and figure out some other way of doing it. So I'm very appreciative of that. As much shit as we like to give some of the people in the front office, some of them do actually care. So just, yeah. Any other questions about banners or TIFO? Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about how do you decide which area wants to be or
That's a great question. If somebody wants to do art, they should reach out to me on, I don't know, Blue Sky, Slack, send a carrier pigeon. Webs. There are contact forms and email addresses on the website. Just find a way to get a hold of me, and we'll chat. Because yeah, like I said, always looking for new artists so we can get different styles and try to get some different stuff going on. Do you have somebody in mind?
I know people that.
Okay. Yeah, I won't bite their heads off. So make it as easy as possible.
Just to follow on that, how many new artists did you work with?
How many new artists? 2, 3. I think we did 3 new artists. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Anything that you didn't get accomplished in 2025?
New space is the big one.
There are plenty of designs.
There are plenty of designs that we talked about that would be cool to use. One of them was real close to coming to fruition. If we had just played Chicago in the playoffs, would have been a lot of fun. One thing I did not get accomplished was not using glitter. That will be accomplished in 2026. One thing that I wanted to accomplish was I have this idea that, I don't know how many of you are aware, but since a certain banner went up, the team has not won a cup.
They have not advanced in any knockout competition since that banner has gone.
So one of the things that I wanted to do last year was to do a design that used both our end and also had a design on their middle platform, so that we could kind of take that back, fix a little bit of that energy that they brought into the stadium, and that didn't happen. So might see if we can do something like that this year. But yeah, like I said, bigger and better displays. Fewer but bigger and better is one thing that I wanted to do last year. Wasn't able to get it done. There's a couple other reasons for that, but we'll get into some of that later because it relates to other agenda items. All right.
How many your artists do you want to work with?
I want to do 2 displays. So, I don't know the exact number yet. We still got to sit down and kind of sketch some of that out. But yeah, it really just depends on the displays that we identify and what we kind of want to do with the season. This is the 30th anniversary of the team. Last year we did a 30th anniversary of the league display. It was just kind of one day. This year is a little bit more special because it's more about the team itself. So we'll see what we want to do for that. But, sir? Yeah, I think the only thing that maybe would have wanted to do something last year but couldn't was the Guillermo induction. And I think that was less about schedule congestion and more about the timing in which we found out about that event. But we were already in mid-display when that was announced, so it would have been difficult no matter what. So yeah, there are some things there that with the timeline of production, like it does limit what you can do a little bit. New space would make that easier and that you could get things done quicker, shorter time.
Hello, all. I am Brad Holloway, the outgoing merchandise director. Just a year in review. We went down from 1,100 members down to about 950, so about a 14% decrease. Most of this was contributed to the Miami game in Cleveland, as well as losing Coach Cucho and a couple other off-season things that just kind of had momentum kind of trending downward, but we made the best with what we had with the memberships. Really kind of year in review. It's kind of excited with the things that we put out. Just a couple of different designs we had out there and everything. Going forward, with Melanie taking over the role, I'm excited to see what she has planned. Just in talking to her, she's got some great ideas for the upcoming during her term. So really looking forward to what she's got. One thing I did not get accomplished in 2025 was rolling out the kids club. We had it set to roll out a couple of different things, but then there were some logistics and security concerns on the backside as far as being able to keep the minors' names and everything on the website and how to handle all that. So I believe we've got all that worked out. So looking forward to, I've laid the groundwork for it. So really looking forward to Melanie kind of taking it and rolling with it. She's got a good plan in place, good team in place to help her with it. And yeah, that's all that I have for the year in review. Questions?
You mentioned the decrease in membership and why we think that. Would we contemplate doing a survey, sending a survey out to those who are members in 2024, but not in 2025, see specifically, and I suspect you're probably right on the reasons, but they moved out of the area. So how much of it truly was a relevant apples to apples decrease and how much was just
Or was it like they were Nordecke members, but then they got a chance to like
You know, those are all things that I had not considered, especially the survey is not something I had thought of. So I appreciate that. That's definitely something that that Melanie and I can speak with during this transition. And if something she wants to move forward with in the role, I think that'd be a good idea to kind of understand where we're at and possibly what can be done to regain those members back if they're interested. Colin.
membership ones compared to posting Red Bulls or starting justice like that now. Not guaranteeing those home games impacts availability of tickets and the addition of being members only playoffs. Like leading up to 2023 for what was on membership rush, and then as a result of playing away, what kind of impact we see.
So leading up to the 23-24 kind of playoff run, I think majority of that was driven by the play on the field and kind of how exciting it was and what people wanted to see. And they wanted to be there for that, knowing there was the opportunity for the couple home games and everything, and knowing how kind of the back half of the season, the team really made that push to get up in there to host those kind of first round playoff games. This year, it just didn't seem that same momentum was kind of there on the field. So it was just kind of, we were flat as it came through the last month and a half of the season as far as getting memberships and everything. And then I really think that we didn't see the push because we made it known up there all season long that memberships would close on decision day. And so we kind of saw that playoff push kind of spread out through the year with people knowing that, hey, as long as I get my membership, then I have first access to playoff tickets through Nordecke for anything that might be away or home if I can't get them through the club. So I really think kind of having that a kind of disclaimer up front in the very beginning kind of leveled out that push that we didn't see from 23 to 24 to this season. You have a follow-up to that? Yeah.
There were both instances, so at least the first game we didn't sell out of our initial block membership. So we could see that there was a very clear and obvious retraction of demand. And that could be attributed to both our offices $90.
Monday.
Monday, and those units, we showed a shot and never took a level. We saw retraction just for such a high profile vehicle, but also we would sell over allotment, and that's what we did there. Very strong for sure. So there was a tangible, we don't know the exact number, there was a tangible deal, a decrease in demand for active towards those kinds of things. Price the day, whatever. So that's just something that I don't hear public, but I want to hear share that.
Oh, no, to that. I don't think that the league did us any favors by having that first game on a Monday, especially kind of with the short turnaround, and the price didn't help at all because that price came directly from the Cincinnati FO on what they wanted to charge for the tickets. So again, like Colin said, the price wasn't favorable, the day wasn't favorable. There was just kind of things working against us when it came to trying to sell out the allotments of them.
So it was like one of those things like I want to put this big, so we're gonna have a discussion. Get what we can get.
And that, yeah, and that was definitely kind of a learning experience that we had, that maybe hindsight's 2020, that maybe a lottery wasn't the right thing to do at that time. Maybe it would have just been better to release our allotment out there and let the members go. Like I said, learning curves, so we can just kind of chalk it up to an experience and know what to do going forward. Ryan?
So you mentioned one of the potential reasons for decreasing membership was Miami game. Do you have any parts put up from surveys or anything that correlates the front office's decision to move a home game away from our home to our actual impacting our organization?
Yeah, so we did as a board decide on survey questions to send out to the membership that went out there, and a lot of the stuff that came back was, a lot of those that filled out the survey didn't agree with that, and like you said, they didn't agree with the fact of moving a home game outside of the stadium. They would have been fine with it not being a regular season game if it had been a friendly or something like that, moving it there to draw interest from the Northern Ohio market and everything. Overall, the general consensus was people weren't happy with it. They didn't like it. They felt it was a money grab. So really, that's just kind of where we stood with it. So in the 23-24 run, when we left the memberships open leading up to that first home playoff game, I believe it was only about 100 to 150 additional members that we gained for that, once it was made known that, hey, memberships were open and people could buy a membership to get a spot in the lottery. There wasn't a major push of, oh, we got 700 of our 1,100 members during that playoff push. It was very minimal compared to what we had already had established prior to that.
Getting feedback from membership, they were upset that we had left it open because, well, now you just have someone going in just to get it. They don't want to be part of the organization. They don't want to be here. They just want tickets. And it was such high demand. And it's not fair to them who had had the season open to get it. And now there's a bigger increase chance that they won't get it because you have a flood of these people. So as I think we all discussed during that before, but we decided going forward that it is going to be on decision day for fairness and other fans with fans and playoffs and stuff. The people that have been loyal going to games, buying tickets from season and stuff to have that better chance than a lot.
To say that leaving membership sales open past decision day is controversial would be a very massive item.
Yep. Allison?
That's something that I feel like when we put out membership like messaging and focusing like on the big aspects of how match day is so important to like the membership. If when we're seeing the fluctuation of membership is based on the team, should we move then less away from how focused we are on that alignment with how the crew is doing season, because we want to keep our membership growing every year regardless of whether the crew sucks or not. So, and I feel like especially with the unfairness of the new coach coming in, like all these new signings, like we don't want to keep losing momentum because that coach takes the money, people not exist anymore. So how in our membership, like all the messaging, social media, all the things that we put in emails, we focus more on what is it outside of just the experience that we can provide as a nonprofit that would benefit people to be our members. That's what I would like to help and help to see grow in 2026, because I think might solve that problem a little bit.
I was just say real quick. So on your comment there, I know Melanie's outlined kind of what she wants to do with that and kind of transition away with that. So I'm going to leave that kind of up to her. If she wants to speak on that shortly, I'll gladly hand the mic over to her so she can speak on that. But I definitely agree with you, and I know the mindset's there that there should be a less focus on the ticket aspect linked to the membership and how the membership overall is beneficial.
Another big aspect that I think we can all grow next year as well. As we already having a lot of experience with the board for the last years, like how do you create that over the partnerships too? Working more on like really honing in on how, like part of it is the discounts that you get as being a member. Like how do we continue to grow those? Like what other kinds of things can we build out in partnerships that make it like juicy Apple level of why people want to be a board member and don't have it tickets. That would be a big part, but not the only thing. So yeah, just
Awesome. No, definitely appreciate it. Great feedback, and definitely something that we as a board will take forward and look into next year. Courtney? Brian.
Years ago, and just donation membership.
Mm-hmm.
See, they gave their ship while opting out of the merch, just giving a single donation membership.
No. So looking at the 2 years that we've offered the Saver membership versus the merchandise in the first year that I came on board, and then again last year when it was the Saver, the black level and the gold level, the Saver, as you're saying, just the donation stayed relatively flat from everything that we're seeing. So there wasn't much of an increase. Overall, I would say those numbers were in here between 200 to 300 of the members did just that donation to Nordecke for it. So yeah, and it's, like I said, it's been relatively flat over the 2 years. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Uh-huh. So yes, so the survey was shared with the front office. They were shocked that we did a survey, even though they said they did a survey, but their survey only went to, I believe, those that went to the game and not their overall ticketed fan base. So that information was it? Okay, gotcha. Okay, I misspoke. So saying it went just to Cleveland area. So yes, we shared that with them, and they were kind of taken back, I guess, or shocked by the comments that were in there. But they had the full aspect of the survey, know the questions that were asked, and we just kind of said, here's what the feedback that we've gotten from the people that you did not ask. All right. So if there are no other questions, I will pass. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to pass it on to Curtis here.
By the way, one final note on that survey that we should probably just mention for general awareness is we purposely did not make that a Nordecke only thing. We actually worked with the fan council to make that a joint effort because, let's be honest, our fan base, our group can come across a little bit bitchy at times. And so we wanted it to be, hey, this is the voice of all crew supporters, those that are standing up or sitting down in the stadium. Yeah, touche. Thank you. But it was a joint effort. They worked with us on developing the survey and understand the results. So I just want to make sure that was on the record. All right, so on to travel. So we had a interest. Thank you, Kurt Roush, travel director. Thank you. Interesting year in travel. I can say with all certainty that we definitely set a record for the most members or tickets sold for away games ever in Nor on Tour history. Don't clap too much because there's a giant asterisk of we had 3 Hell is Real games embedded in there. So, that's definitely going to accelerate the numbers or increase the numbers a bit. But we had over 1,000, I think it was around 1,060 total tickets sold across all of the away games. We sent 60 plus fans to 8 different games, including the 3 Hell is Reals, but also including places as far away as San Diego, Charlotte, St. Louis. So really good experience. From a lot of folks. I personally never, ever want to do 2 different Hell is Real games in a 12-day span ever again. That was hell. But we pulled it off, got it done. Great partners down at Cobblestone. It was hell. It was real. And it was, make sure that's in the minutes. But overall, really good success last year. Really tried to build upon the success that we inherited from Bud and Kevin, who kind of really laid a great foundation in the previous years, and then tried to just take that and kind of build upon it. Couple things that really focused heavily on last year. One was on really making sure that there was kind of a communicated pregame plan for all activities. The one thing that I'm lazy, so we try to the greatest extent possible, not do that ourselves. Where we had a local supporter group in whatever city we were going to, be that Mecklenburg Massive or 3-1 Crew or Crew York or California, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. We definitely tried to lean on them, and they were great partners. So we would coordinate a pregame activity with them, and then when those did not exist, we would either just do it ourselves, or in a couple of very specific instances, we would even partner with the local supporter group at the away team or the team we were visiting. St. Louligans in St. Louis were awesome hosts. Really can't wait for them to be part of our same group because that's gonna be a fun rivalry that we have with them. San Diego, we partnered with a couple of their new SGs. So I think it was their second ever home game. They were fun partners. So obviously cannot do that in all cities. I don't see us ever partnering with the Bailey on a pregame activity. But in certain cities that made sense, and we partner with them where it made sense. And I think for the most part had a really good experience. Some cities were admittedly better than others, but we learned a lot, and we'll definitely try to build upon that next year. The other thing that I really was trying to focus on a lot in this past year was trying to build the excitement level on, you can have a lot of fun going to away games. I think most of us in this room have probably done it at least once. And, it can be a really interesting, fun experience, but a lot of folks may not have an idea of what that might entail. They might think it's intimidated. You're going to get yelled at the entire time. You're going to have rocks thrown at you or whatever. So one of the ideas that we had to try to, maybe build that level of energy was we started the Instagram photo contest that we started this year. I think Colin and the communication team did a great job of helping us to communicate that. The idea was that we asked fans who had traveled to every away game to send us in photographs that they had taken either at the game or before the game or maybe around the city at, different monuments or different kind of well-known spots around the city, wearing crew gear. And then we would put that up on Instagram for a vote where all of you decide, what your favorite one was. And then the winner got a free scarf. We had some special edition scarves made that were really neat. Shout out to Supporter Supply for helping us on that. And then we also are going to do a season end contest that will be a grand prize. We'll take all the winners for each individual week, and we'll have a grand prize, and the winner will get a gift card. I think it's a $250 gift card to Supporter Supply. We're going to do that as a lead up to this season. So that photo contest does not happen yet. We're going to do kind of as a leading up to this season. So overall, it went really well. I think we built a lot of excitement there. The energy seemed to tail off a little bit towards in the season, but I think that could be a testament to the team's performance and interest waning a little bit there. But overall, really excited for how it went. I think there were a lot of things we got accomplished and a lot of things that we left on the table. One of the things I'm very excited about in 2026 is we have a deputy I'm excited to announce just in the last couple of months. For anyone who knows John Checkett, who went to 9 different away games last year, which as far as I'm aware is a record. But if you can correct me, please let me know. But that is very impressive. So based on his extensive knowledge from attending so many away games, he has agreed to step in to the deputy role for this year. Very thankful for that. And initially, John's role is going to be taking over the Instagram account and kind of running that social media. So he has some interesting ideas, and I'd welcome any that you guys all have to kind of help building that excitement. So we're definitely going to focus a lot on that.
It's the Zoom meeting.
The other thing I really want to focus on this year is continuing to build that awareness. I think many of you probably know that by kind of the agreement that we have with the crew is that the Nor on Tour is kind of unique in the extent of in the interest of everything that Nordecke does, and it's not exclusive to Nordecke. We accept, we will sell tickets to anybody, even if they have no affiliation with Nordecke, as long as never stood in Nordecke, never attended a game, don't know any of the chants, that's fine. And to the point Paco made earlier about we all had our own kind of unique first door into Nordecke, our first kind of experience in what this is about. And I've talked to more than one person who said, hey, my first exposure to the songs or the chants was I was in Nor on Tour. I was at an away game, and there were a few Nordecke members there who spent the entire game annoyingly singing, but it was fun. So I got involved and did it too. And hey, after that, I'm going to maybe try to sit in Nordecke for a game. So, we keep that in mind, and we want to be that front door into crew fandom for all folks. So we want to work with the front office on ways that we can spread the word to say, hey, our tickets are available for everybody. We'd absolutely welcome anyone who wants to attend away games. We will, of course, continue doing the lottery for Cincinnati because that's the one game where we do have more demand than capacity. But every single other game, we have more tickets available than we've ever sold out of. So we'd welcome more folks to participate. So that's on the agenda for the front office meeting that's gotten mentioned a couple of times, is how the front office could help support, spread the word about the opportunity to attend away games and sit with other crew fans. So that is definitely something I want to focus on over the next year. The other piece of feedback I've gotten, and I am fully in agreement with everyone who's given me this feedback, is wanting to get the tickets posted early. I know as Bud and Kevin can attest, Ty loved to wait until the 11th hour to do everything. He would not even reach out to the other team until 4 or 5 weeks before the game to ask for pricing, which is obviously something we need before we can sell the tickets. So I've already planted the seed with replacement Ty, and we will, he's open to the idea of just reaching out right now, getting pricing from every team for the entire season and trying to get those tickets posted as early as possible. Would love to have all of those posted by, end of March maybe. And we're already working on the first 2 games, which are obviously earlier than the others. That'd be Portland, Kansas City. Kansas City should be posted the next day. Portland, we're still waiting on them to get us pricing, but the request has went out. And the rest of the season, we want to get posted as early as possible. I'm here. I heard a lot of folks say, hey, I have to, in order to go to a game in Orlando or a game in Seattle or whatever, I have to book airfare, I have to book a hotel. I don't want to incur all of those expenses until I know I'm going to get a ticket. And sure, you tell me tickets are going to be available, but I'm show me, I need to see it myself. And I understand that completely. So we want to open that up to folks and just make sure that they can buy tickets earlier than later. Capacity is never an issue outside of Cincinnati. So we'll try to abide by that. Yeah, Brian.
I had Rebel fans that traveled out. We were charged $35 in Rebel Arena, and they were charged $51 here. So I thought there was supposed to be a reciprocal back and forth. So just like a little pressure on them for that.
Yeah, we can definitely bring that up. I mean, I would obviously be more sensitive to where our fans are the ones. So for anyone who didn't hear the question, Ryan brought up this situation of Red Bull. I'm sure it's not unique to Red Bull, but that's a good example where we were charged $35 when we went there. They were charged $51, I think you said, when they came here. Partially, they're going to claim that supply and demand. I mean, Red Bull, I don't think have sold out a game since 2012 or so, but But that being said, there still is an issue with the reciprocation there. Of course, the reciprocation could also screw us. I think we were the ones who started the $90 Cincinnati ticket prices. Did they start it? They started? Okay, they started. Oh, okay, that's okay. I apologize. So maybe they started it, although they did subsidize their fans going down there. So yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, so yeah.
They set the price and then later said, by the way, you guys, Nordecke has to cover $2,000 surcharge or whatever it was. So
Yeah. So, hey, Brad.
I know that Cincinnati is kind of the highest demand, and I know that kind of the ticket limit is set by an agreement a quasi agreement between ISD and the MLS where the visiting supporters. Do you have a plan or kind of a timeline or course of action to try to increase that ticket limit that we get, and then also in turn knowing that if we ask for the increase going down there, they're going to ask for an increase?
Yeah. So the question is, can we get more tickets in Cincinnati? Basically, is the question. The issue with that is yes, we can always ask. Is first of all is the question. Just to show you guys a little behind the scenes. One of the issues is, by this agreement, and I don't know if I've never seen it in writing. I assume it exists in writing somewhere. But there's an agreement between the ISC, the Independent Supporters Council, and MLS that tickets will be made available for every away team to purchase. And there's rules about capacity and all of that. One of the rules in there is that the pricing on the tickets are supposed to be priced at, or I think it's basically within 10% of their cheapest tickets that they're selling to their own fans, which are usually in their supporter group. I'm sure there's a couple of stadiums where there's exceptions. Is it only for playoffs? I thought it was for all seasons. Yeah. Is it only? Yeah. Yeah. So the pricing is typically it's typically not a huge issue. I mean, so most stadiums, it's less than $50 for a ticket for a away game. The home club does price these. There are exceptions, Cincinnati being the big one. Miami, I think, was $80 or so last year. And that was before they opened their $1 billion stadium. So God knows what it'll be this year. But for the most part, tickets are relatively not too price prohibitive, especially when you think folks are having to separately pay for airfare and hotels and all of that. The cost of the ticket is a relatively small portion of the actual travel expenses. Cincinnati's the big exception. So trying to get those prices down would definitely help, especially with the fact that we didn't even sell out this year to one game. Yeah, Allison. Yeah, and this really is a continuation of kind of feedback I got from Bud, kind of in his term, is the demand for busing has just really went down over the years, and I think it's Cincinnati being, again, an exception. It's kind of like with all things travel, you almost have to have two conversations. There's the Cincinnati situation, and then there's the everything else situation. But, Chicago is a good example. Like, we could bus to Chicago, but, the feedback I get from folks is, hey, we want to do our own thing. Some of us want to travel a couple days early and do sightseeing. Some of us want to drive in for the game. So people tend to want to make their own logistics. So the one thing that we have provided to some games, and this year I want to increase, is having hotel availability, where we basically can just post a rate to say, here's one or two hotels that have agreed to give us a discount. It's a discount code. There's no obligation on Nordecke. It's not like we have a minimum fee or minimum rooms we need to book, but it's an availability thing for folks. I didn't push that super hard this year because I will say that like Charlotte, for instance, we did that. And the only two people we had, I think, 70 fans who went to that game, and the only two people who used the discount code were me and Brian. So, and again, I'm not angry about that. I'm just saying I think people vote with what they value with their feet. So if we're going to make something available and folks don't use it, that tells me, hey, I could devote my time to something else that more people would benefit from. But if the feedback is we want more hotels, let me know. Definitely willing to entertain that. Yeah. Yeah.
Regulation, and what we saw pretty much as prices increased, that the cost, like, so the cost of Cincinnati, how much, $2,000?
Right.
When we did a dorm tour to Philly, it was about $3,500 after the fact. That was supposed to be good $3,500 because we screwed it up. But everything else that we quoted has been $6,000 plus just for the bus. And hopefully then it becomes off the business. Like, yeah, we got to run a tour at only $350. You can get a hotel, a bus, and a ticket. And then
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. there will be an empty row in front of and behind them on the bus. Yeah. Yeah. So the question for anyone who has not heard from Allison was, will the precedent be that we're going to move away from busing again outside of Cincinnati? And I think the answer would be yes. I'm definitely open in select instances. For instance, hypothetically, if we played a playoff game in Chicago and it was, a 5 p.m. game where we could drive up that day and come back that night, I would definitely entertain it in specific instances. But the default rule is going to be we're going to focus on other things, not buses. Yeah.
Have we considered as an organization to the state and Amtrak and putting our support behind putting the trains that are going to Chicago? Between us and I don't know what generous organization is in the Chicago Fire right now, but I'm sure they would enjoy a 7-hour train ride through the hills of Ohio.
I mean, why stop at trains? I went to Hyperloop going to Chicago. So, yeah. No, it's a good comment. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, by the way, on buses, I do want to give a quick shout out to Colin, by the way, on the buses, because during the planning for the playoff push, which was a bit of a fiasco just based on 3 games in 2 weeks and, had to be due on very short notice. When the original kind of idea came up in our internal board Slack about, hey, would the team pay for buses? I believe I responded to that question with a laughing emoji because that was the likelihood of success. But Colin reached out to Ty and asked, and I thought it was a waste of time, but it wasn't. So kudos to Colin for asking the question. So, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
How many of the tickets that we sell are people from Columbus traveling to those locations or fans that are already in this buying tickets?
Yeah. So the question was, for away games, do we have data about how many fans are local for those geographies versus how many of them are Columbus or Ohio fans traveling? I've never run the data on that. I mean, we do capture on the order, email and stuff. Brad, do we capture home address? I don't know if we capture.
Cincinnati, most of those tickets, 98% of that is Columbus fans traveling to Cincinnati. Most of the away games, I would say over 80% is Columbus fans traveling. There is that 20% of the fans in the state that the game is in that want to go see it, or they live in Miami, but they follow the crew, so they're going to go to Chicago. Chicago's the same thing. A lot of that 20% is like Crew York or different stuff like that. The support groups there buying tickets.
Okay. The short answer is the information in orders. There's not a good report that can just pull that information out. It's there, but it would be really painful to get it out.
Just outside of billing and shipping addresses, that's the only data that is there as far as.
And I would say anecdotally, the 20% that Brad threw out without running the raw data, that feels about right. It's a little higher in some markets. I think Charlotte, Chicago have pretty active supporter groups. So maybe it's 40%, 30 or 40% in those markets, but I think 20% feels about right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an optional question that you can just I don't know how it works.
Yeah. This one? Okay.
This year, be sure to sort of push to get those on our this lady, her family, live outside of California, and they drive to every single thing. One of them will drive all the way up. They've been driving 5 miles an hour to every single thing. I had the fortune of traveling
Yeah, I mean, we've had some really fun stories. I mean, one that comes to mind, I think it was Atlanta. I might have the city wrong. Is there was a couple of crew fans, I believe they live in North Carolina, I believe originally from Columbus, who had decided to travel to Atlanta for their 20th wedding anniversary, and just coincidentally happened to be the same weekend that the crew were visiting Atlanta. And they decided to celebrate their anniversary at a crew game. So that was pretty exciting. I don't know yet if they're still married or if that wife has decided to leave her because he scheduled his anniversary trip around a soccer game. But I thought it was cool. Yeah. But no, we have had some amazing experiences of away fans. I mentioned earlier the St. Louligans in St. Louis, where I can't remember if anyone in this room, I think a few of you were at that game. They hosted us at their tailgate, and it was one of the most funnest times we've ever had at a tailgate. I think all of us had pink scarves leaving it. They gave away to us. Was that the Alaska? Yeah, why don't you know the story better than I do? Tell the Alaska story. Yeah, it's okay. So guys, grab me afterwards. We have some really cool stories, but I think people have to go to the bathroom. So we're going to take a break. Oh, you have Robbie's. Okay, then we're taking a break. So hold it for a little bit longer.
All right, real quick, guys. I have an update from Robbie. He was not able to be here today, so I've got a letter to read for him. And then we're going to take a 10-minute, get a drink, stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, and then we'll go on to the organizational updates. A lot of those we've kind of touched on and covered, so we're going to kind of combine a couple of those, kind of get through that. And before Robbie's, I did want to mention that Trent unfortunately wasn't able to be here too, but I do want to give a shout out to Trent. He did step in when our game day operations elected last year did step down. He stepped in, played a vital role in all the tickets transferred, all of that. So I do want to give a shout out and props to Trent and thank him again for stepping up and fulfilling that role. Now from Ravi, I am not Ravi, but this is, hello everyone, good afternoon. And my apologies for not being able to attend the AGM today. Michigan weather and fever had other plans. He asked Colin, but I was selfish and I wanted to take it to share the words on my behalf. It's been the greatest honor and privilege to serve the Nordecke's partnership director for the past 3 years. During that time, I've met some of the most passionate, genuine, and incredible people. Relationships I never would have formed anywhere. To call Nordecke a supporters group feels insignificant. It's a family, and it gave me one of the greatest gifts anyone can ever receive: belonging, love, and purpose. I'm proud of the progress we have made together, strengthening our brewery and restaurant partnerships, raising awareness of the many community partners that make Columbus better, and standing up against intolerance and injustice that hurt members of the Nordecke. But none of the success or impact we've made alone. It was only possible because of the people besides me. Whew, damn it, Ravi. Scott Gorsling, our beloved beer captain. Thank you for your unwavering energy, dedication, and presence. You're instrumental in making our tailgates what they are. And Nordecke simply wouldn't be the same without you. Ryan Wilbur, thank you for being an incredible deputy and partner. Your perspective, support, and leadership made the organization stronger, and I'm grateful to have shared that journey with you. I'm not looking at you, so I don't get upset. To our current board, Courtney, me, Emily, Brad, Trent, Paco, Curtis, and Brent. Thank you for your passion and commitment to the Nordecke and the broader community. You all have not only defined our mission, vision, and core values, which we'll get to, but practice it every day. Your trust allowed me to continue to serve Nordecke from up north. Boo. Now, And I'm grateful to all of you for that. To our past boards, Katie, Chris, Heather, Klein, Brandon, and Bud. Thank you for opening the door, welcoming me into the family, and believing I could contribute to something so special. You changed my life more than you'll ever know. And finally, to all of our brewery and restaurant partners, thank you for standing with us, fueling our match days and supporting the community that thrives on unity, soccer, and love. The support you gave us carried into every chant, every away match, and every unforgettable moment, even if it raised our collective blood alcohol level. Your partnership has meant everything, and I hope it continues for many seasons to come. It's difficult to fully express what Nordecke meant to me. During some of my most challenging moments, many of you lifted me up sometimes without even realizing it. Serving this group helped me rediscover confidence, purpose, and belief in myself. I may not have achieved every personal goal I set, but I leave knowing I gave my whole heart and helped lay a foundation for what comes next. To the next partnership director, I'm excited to support you during your transition and beyond. Please know I am always a resource and will gladly help however I can to your success. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you all. Yabba Dabba Crew! All right, now take 10 minutes. We'll be back and we'll get into organizational things. Thank you guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Give me a hand. Yeah, this got super awkward.
All right, do we have most people back? Well, he's got to pinch it off and get back. I don't know. All right, so I know we've touched kind of on some of these ones for organizational updates. I am gonna kind of combine two of these, A and H. So we're taking away the bread. If I could have Emily come up and Brad come up too. And if Colin wants to come up on this one too, because I know he was part of A and H. They kind of go hand in hand. So we kind of already went up with the membership update as far as numbers, reasons we believe kind of contributing factors, not only with, you know, kind of upset with Cucho leaving right away, overall team performance. I did want to mention too, weather. We had some really awful weather for the first probably 2/3. I think we had a total of, what was it, 10 or 12 rain games and delays. Like even the front office said most of any season they've had. So that was always fun. I mean, we love a good blue screen, but Jesus H. Christ. So that's one thing we definitely took into consideration with that. We also, once memberships closed, Colin and Allison and Brad kind of worked, and we definitely have some plans, speaking on how Allison was talking about outreach and building memberships and stuff like that. Kind of got into a plan where we want to go out and do more as far as membership pushes. So one thing we definitely want to do next year with memberships, and supporting Melanie as well as other board members, having membership booths at more away watch parties. It doesn't always have to be Melanie and everyone. We can definitely have deputies, different people step up that are going, set up a booth, give a kind of information. And I know right now we're in talks with a new partnership that wants to support that. I'm not going to reveal who or what or where, but they have multiple locations, different establishments in the city where they want to host away watch parties. They want to host us. They want to push us on their socials. They want to build and help support fundraising for community, whatever one would be that month. They have a designated person from their group that is working with us and building on that. So we're still in talks with them about what exactly that looks like. Once we have that nailed down, we will be announcing that, but it's a big opportunity. They want to work with us, not only with that, but having it at their establishments, Nordecke, building up watch parties, things like that. And they also want to work with us during World Cup breaks. So they want to work with us to have watch parties, whether it's for US, whether it's for games where our players are featured and stuff. So we're in talks with them, going very positive. Our initial meeting, Emily, Ravi, and I had, it seems like their vision is our vision, and it lines up really well. So we're excited about that. News to come on that. But we also talked about going out and doing things like maybe having a tent set up for Comfest in the park, because you get a lot of traffic there. Since we won't have a game in June, and we'll get more into this on one of the talking points, setting up a table during the Pride Parade, going out and doing things like that, even picking some of the farmers markets, and not saying every Saturday we're going out in the morning and setting up a table, but finding different community events like that to set up in different parts of the city, get people to come by. We have little pieces of like old merchant stuff where we can give out wristbands or informational things. So it's setting up a table, people come by, crew, and doing stuff like that. But we definitely want to do more of that outreach throughout different communities in the city to build on membership, because even now, I was just at the thing and the bartenders here asked me, so we just have a question. What is Nordecke? So we explain to them, they're excited, they love it. We're like, come to a game, come stand in the section. It's the cheapest ticket in the stadium. You'll be blown away. You'll either be terrified or you'll fall in love. There's no middle ground. Yes, Norm.
Along those lines, the website becomes an important because while it works for a lot of what we need to work for, when you look around other supporter groups in the league, and if you're an outsider, if you live from an outsider lens, there's really not a whole lot on the website that will tell you who we are, what we do, like what we stand for, any of these things. The splash pages is a TIFO, which is fantastic, but it doesn't really direct you in any way to what we are doing in a way that's where Google you, they just find out information about the group or how to get involved more directly. We almost need to do it very naively from someone who isn't involved in the organization.
Absolutely.
Well, I was gonna say too, we're a unique in our supporter section of those things.
And that's one thing that we know for years has been a branding issue. That's gonna.
So
There was one that actually watching the game on TV and they will talk about the supporters group, and that you know, the broadcast people will know what the supporters group is called, and ours kind of, they don't.
Yep. Well, so kind of on, we have not been asked specifically for a media package, kind of on that. But one thing that we've tried to commit again from the front office that we did previously was their new season ticket holders when they would have their meetings in the River Club. They allowed us to come and speak about Nordecke and explain the difference between Nordecke the concrete and Nordecke the people. We did not get the opportunity to do that last season. We've asked for a commitment again from them for this season to be able to do that, to come in and talk to the first-time season ticket holders to say, hey, there's a difference between Nordecke the section and Nordecke the community. And when we did that, we gained about 100 members when we were able to do that, and people that were really interested, people that didn't have tickets in Nordecke, but they wanted to be a part of the organization. They're like, we see you guys on game day. We want to be a part of it somehow. So that's a really good right there. That speaks that there's people outside of the section that want to be involved that we didn't even know about without pounding the pavement saying we want to be a part of these meetings. So that's something that we've asked them to commit to again this season when they start having those meetings.
I was at the first game. Like, I was born and raised, and I was not actually familiar. There's like Nordecke, list. So I feel like even as simple as like small conversation with people in your section, say like, hey, I'm a part of this membership. This allows me to do X, Y, and Z. Because we're all there, but again, like I did not realize the extent of what being on Nordecke membership was like until I actually did it, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. Sorry, guys. I feel like you just understand about like the benefits of it. Because again, like years and years,
You know, that's definitely something that we struggle with, is trying to figure out how to differentiate between Nordecke the concrete and Nordecke the people. I feel we've gotten better over the years, but there's definitely room for improvement and room for growth. Whether it's many business cards that we hand out, just saying, hey, or something. There's always opportunity, and we appreciate any and all feedback on ideas you guys might have on how we can make that differentiation and what we can do better.
So that one we're still kind of in discussions with. I know right now, we are finishing up with the indoor season with the Eagles. This last season we did, they did approach us about a partnership and supporting them to continue. We did decide, just kind of based on what they had, what we wanted to do a 1 year. And the route we went wasn't the full kind of corporate partnership what they wanted, because they did want a multi-year deal that at the time, with everything going on with the Cleveland and memberships and this and that, we looked at our finances and stuff and decided it wasn't necessarily worth our investment for what they were asking. So what we decided to do was purchase, was it 20 season ticket memberships that went through summer and indoor, and that we would donate that to youth soccer. And we have different soccer teams that are getting those tickets to go to. So I know they're going to come back once their indoor season is over, and we're going to revisit that and talk with them about how we continue with that, promoting them. And I know they were interested, if we had done the corporate sponsorship, to have their section be like the Nordecke Nest or the Eagles Nest and by Nordecke or something. So that's going to be an online thing to continue, because we do want to keep continuing local soccer. That's going to be in our mission statement that we kind of go over as well. And I know we're looking into different opportunities about different soccer teams and stuff like that, as far as youth soccer and building with that. And that might be something more too that we are in talks with the team, as far as collaboration with their outreach. Brian.
I mean,
Yeah, there's several previous crew players that are a part of that organization. My son played there, so I mean that'll be an easy thing to reach out and connect with.
Melanie, then Allison. Yeah, Allison.
Which is the soccer tournament that benefits Richmond Final Third, especially with everything going on with immigration. I would like to see us uplifting our community. And it's going to be in July, and I think that's pretty set. So I'm going to be able to like connect us and like they have a new director of development. So trying for Final Third. So hopefully to help them connect. And then second, for Colin, I think that this is something I haven't looked at. Like, oh, we thought about here, but like continuing to put pressure on the front office to help with our branding as well from an organizational standpoint, because there were many times where we were roadblocks here from putting out messaging from the organization, because we asked for the front office to help amplify that message, and they declined to like meet that offer. Like one thing, for example, like we were at the stuff, like we were out there selling memberships. We had great community partners who were a big part of that, like Coda and Cycleworks, and like they did not do enough to help us amplify that. But Nordecke as a concrete and us as the Nordecke organization are all over their branding, all over their social media. So if they could also help, or we have times where we have something that needs to be amplified from an organizational standpoint, if they could continue, or if they could start doing that.
And speaking on that too, with nations, since it is in July, I know we've had issues the past couple of years because it's usually on a game day or things like that. Since we have that break in there, that's definitely something where we can put a little more effort and put. Yeah.
I think it is this year too.
No, it'll be, if it's July, it's
The end of July.
yeah.
It's a different between the mayor and there's just like there's a lot of people that play their we go away for the Coach and Bay tournament, and that's Jay Lincoln always as that tournament, and so that kind of like as we would love to play in our tournament, we're all up in the play. So we group a lot of play. I never always wondering like, hey, did we think about not that we
I believe the Nations Cup this year is the same as the Cincinnati home game.
It is. So I know like a great call out for like the fact that players are not able to always play in the tournament, whatever kind of way that we support it, whether that's like raising money like last year. I know we raised money enough to sponsor a team back then. So like, and then Nordecke has sponsored teams in the past. Nordecke I think provided snacks
I was gonna say, didn't we do like food and snacks and stuff like that? So
They come to me sometimes and she said, you gotta get out of control. Like, none of us can play in this tournament anymore because I would yell at everyone. And be like, "Oh, I'm scared to yell." And I was It's just like if it, I don't feel like the hospital doesn't lose. There are a lot of different ethnic and things like that. I mean, that like everyone would love to participate in it, but like it's really. I was just wondering if like after a chance. Yep. And how it helps for volunteer do revolution. Also not.
all right, Bethany. What was, I can hear the,
Why not? One more thing, that's fine.
That's what Allison was just talking about.
yeah, that's kind of what she was saying about that. So when they present to us and they, you know, opportunities come, we obviously want to keep continuing. We've done Final Third, we've done Chris, we've done those. Obviously those are ones that we definitely with our community want to keep working with and supporting as well as we can with everything. And I know previously we've had other groups and stuff when they are in need. A couple years ago when we had the tornadoes and it was it Big Walnut?
Big Walnut.
Big Walnut. We had helped raise funds. So, I mean, we're always open to help where we can, how we can. And that's always a good thing when there are things like that. So
Community, we have been in contact with, it's called Top Soccer, and they're an adaptive soccer club. And so I've been in contact with the coordinator there, and once their spring schedule's out, we're going to see what works with our schedule and get some players, some kiddos and adults out there to kind of support those kids.
and then now I'm going to tie in H real quick because this kind of goes hand in hand. And I don't know, Colin, Emily, if you guys want to kind of speak on you want to speak on it. So I'm going to pass it over, but I'm just going to introduce it and then pass to you. But there was an idea discussed, and we're still in discussions. Nothing's ever set in doing this about memberships being auto-renewed. Now there's plus and minuses to that. I'm going to pass it off to Brad to kind of speak on that. And then anyone else that has questions, comments, concerns, this and that, but.
Yep. So with the auto membership renewals, this is us thinking ahead to when the season switches, knowing that this upcoming season, you've got a full season, and 2 or 3 weeks later, you've got a mini season starting, trying to find a way to lessen the burden on the members of buying stuff back to back to back or whatever, and just saying, hey, we're going to be transitioning to these summer memberships anyways. Find a way to just auto renew your membership that you may purchase this year to roll over to the next season. One less thing you've got to worry about. Simply, there will be an option you can log in, looking at ways you can log into your account and opt out of the auto renewal if you don't want to, seeing if our current website and everything can support that decision. So really, this was an idea that came about just recently on kind of how to do this. So any feedback y'all might have on this now or later would be great. Okay.
It also gives us the opportunity, if there are people that opt out, that we can identify those people and reach out and see what it is that caused them to opt out, like, and what we can do that would help. Like, I don't have fun right now, but I will. Right. So it helps us identify people and see what we can do to fix these.
And then kind of a way to segue into this, and I'll pass it to Colin. It gives us the ability with ticket negotiations being on a yearly basis right now to kind of say, hey, here's what we've got going ahead. Kind of use it as leverage going into negotiations. If Colin, you want to elaborate a little further on that.
Yeah, so our thinking would be to take the 2026 membership and have it auto renew sometime in the summer of 2026. One, to align with the calendar flip, but also to where we're brainstorming the idea of the mini season that we're anticipating before the calendar does flip, to have that be included as a part of either your auto renew for 2027, or if you've auto renewed for 2026, just letting it roll into an 18-month membership on either side of that. It also, like Brad mentioned, gives us the opportunity. We started our ticket negotiation, I believe, in July, and we finally signed it in November. So the front office is not necessarily the most hospitable organization to work with to get that signed. And so one thing that we did this year, which we'll be able to provide with the ticket update, is that we reduced our ticket quantity from 200 to 150 based on various factors that we'll get into soon. But having memberships on auto renew and seeing whether people are opting out or opting in at a successful rate or a retracted rate, we'll be able to understand preemptively what kind of negotiation power and what kind of the forecast of the membership is, and where people stand both financially and their commitment to Nordecke going forward, to be able to go to the front office and say, we've already got 500 people signed up for next season. We're ready for tickets. We want them as soon as possible. We want to adjust our demand. We want 200 back. We want 300 back. So it gives us another data point to be able to leverage our negotiations and to be able to utilize our membership benefits and our strengths to be able to get a more accurate estimation of where the membership is and where they're going in the future, as opposed to just trying to guess. Because right now we had to play a little bit of economist over the off season, and that was not fun.
Well, and I can say this, I know Nordecke tickets went up. Was it $5, $5 or $6? Yeah, season tickets. Sorry, not ours. Their team issued season tickets, and we know with how things are going, tickets are only going to keep increasing year after year after year. Our goal with selling tickets isn't to be our main funds come from season tickets, but that we still offer the best pricing of tickets for our memberships. So that's why negotiations going back and forth took a little while. We're going to kind of just dive on that one, I guess, which is fine because it ties in with memberships. But we are interested right now to see, because of that, we know that they did not, at the time of that negotiation, sell out their Nordecke season ticket memberships. Also talking with them, factoring in the scheduling, we know that a lot of those Wednesday games, we have 8 Wednesday or weeknight games, that they are going to do their promotionals where buy a 4-pack, you get drink, pizza, this or that. And those definitely hurt our sales on weeknight games. And they've already guaranteed that those ones, they're going to have at least 8 or 9 of those. And that's just with regular season, not even including Leagues Cup, all that fun stuff. So that factored into kind of our decision to reduce. We also know that with increases, I know people are slowly starting to get priced out with the state of affairs of the world today and finances, and everywhere things are increasing and not necessarily people's salaries increasing. So that's something we didn't have the data necessarily when we finalized the agreement, but we'll be interested to see this year how many people opted out of season tickets and come to Nordecke for their regular season games and how many games they get into. So that's something we definitely want to include in season, in surveys with memberships and people that come and buy and do stuff like that. Yes, Ryan. No, that's fine.
It sounds like you got a couple comments that people are like from the auto renewals. One thing that I would like to see, if that does come to pass, is the Nordecke being very open about, hey, you are auto renewed. Here's what it's going to be. Here's when we're going to start doing. When you opt out, you can do so right now and make it as streamlined as possible. I think some companies and organizations, obviously not implying that we're one of those, but they make it very getting auto renewed into something, or like the costing is going to be. So it's like, especially if there's going to be updates to like membership pricing for whatever reason looking ahead, right? I'm just want to make that.
It would kind of be more like we had this season where we had that banner on the top of the website all the time saying, hey, memberships close on this date. I would love to see a banner stay up there like, if you want to opt out of your membership, click here. That way it's always at the top of the website at the time. And then again, work with comms to when we get close to that kind of renewal window of an email going out maybe a month ahead of time saying, hey, memberships are set to auto renew at this date. Here's the pricing that's coming with them. If you want to opt out, log into your account, do X, Y, and Z or whatever.
I'm just saying this too, with that one, because that would be such a big change for the organization membership, you'd be annoyed as hell for how much we're going to bug you. It would probably most likely be a daily social thing. It would be included not only in the weekly one, but we would probably spam you as much as, hey, just so you know, your auto renewal, kind of like the crew kind of does, where they're like, hey, you have to opt in, and then you get a fun quarter zip hoodie jacket thing. We would definitely get the communication out where, to the point, if you didn't know what has happened, I don't want to say like it's your own self-fault for not checking your email or seeing the socials or doing that, but we definitely want to push that and kind of give no excuses for that. So doing that, that would definitely.
First couple of times, we'd be kind of leaning on it. Someone misses the opt-out window, they'd say, hey, I'm not interested. We definitely work with them, I think, yeah.
One
But-
thing with the mini season, I think probably, if we're gonna try to roll that out for 2026, have a pretty good idea of what that mini season is gonna look like. And at least roughly breaks out what the hybrid 2027 membership would look like. So like, for the first time, I'm auto renewing, but what does that mean and what's the season?
Yeah.
We've had conversations around either attaching it to the end of the 26 season or adding it to the beginning of the 27. So just, depending on how that all works out, so that it makes it worth.
Yeah. Mike says attaching to the beginning of the 2027. Otherwise, the sticker shock potentially of we're increasing your membership cost by 40% because it includes the next season. I'm just hearing you're increasing membership cost by 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll.
Just before we move on, some feedback that would be incredibly valuable to us would be the time frame in which you'd like to see a renewal happen, whether that's aligned with the new schedule. How far in advance of the new season would you like to see it? Before the summer break starts, in the middle of the summer break, right before the summer break ends. Some other feedback would be every subscription I have, the longer you subscribe or the longer you auto renew, the bigger the benefit you get. So whether that's like a discount on the black or the gold package, just soliciting feedback on what you want to see out of an auto renew, because we want to make this a benefit as opposed to just like a way for us to collect data points and revenue. It needs to be something that the membership benefits from. And so if you have suggestions or ideas, please feel free to send those to us. However you'd like to contact us, we'll aggregate those and we'll take those into account. But we don't want to just be collecting money in advance to get data, collect our fee, and then move on. We want to make sure that it's a two-way relationship and we're not just Planet Fitness or something like that.
All right, cool. Now we're going to invite Bud up, our treasurer, to go over our financial update for him.
All right. Bud Tyler, I've been the treasurer of the organization for a few years now, decades, centuries. In dog years, I've been treasurer for a year, I think.
Yeah.
I will preface the financial update by saying this was a lot more fun with the euphoria of the 2023 season. So obviously the money that we have is the genesis for everything that we can do for the organization. And as has kind of been hinted in our ticketing discussions, it was not a good ticketing sales year. Typically, we are, give or take, break even on our ticketing sales, the 2023 year, between the increased membership and then the money we got from playoffs. We made quite a bit on ticket sales.
Well, it's having 2 seasons.
Yes, yeah. This year, in round numbers, we lost about $34,000 on ticket sales for home games. To put that in perspective, our total cash loss or cash usage for the entire year was about 41,000. So more or less, we were break even, what we would expect with increased community, which we were much more active this year than we have been in prior years. We did well on away tickets, but yeah, with the ups and downs and the weather, home matches sucked on multiple levels, not least of which is financial. So
We ended the year with about 26,000 in cash. We started the year with about 67,000 in cash. That's the bad news. The semi-good news is if we look at what our cash balance is before the euphoria of 2023, we're right about on line where we historically have started the season. 2019, 2020, we started 30,000, 26,000. So we had that nice blip that we've all enjoyed, and we're kind of back to where we were before the 2023 season. The 2025 expenditures is a little overstated. One of the things we did to position ourselves for this year is we bought about $3,000, $3,500 worth of fabric in December. So obviously there were no TIFOs in December. So that's an expense that we're not going to incur this year. So that is kind of the nuts and the bolts of it. In terms of what we spent TIFO, including that 3,000, we spent between $14,000 and $15,000, excluding the TIFO space. For those that don't know, it's kind of a two-stage relationship. We pay for the TIFO space, and then independently, we get a check from the front office that reimburses us dollar for dollar. So just pure paint, fabric, and everything. We about
Savings on paint.
and yes.
We now have a 50% discount
Mhm.
on paint. Thank you
Yes.
to Melanie Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Merch, we spent about 14, 15,000 on merch. Much of that is the membership kit, so that kind of gets tied in with overall memberships. In round numbers, we got about $40,000 in membership this year. So again, net, if we ignored the ticket sales, which I would love to ignore the ticket sales, it was kind of a standard year. A couple other things. Community, we spent about $9,000 on community efforts this year. Nordecke Cup was about 1,500 net of what we received in the registration fees.
For the first one.
Well, that's combined, but yeah. Yeah. Two sets of snacks and pizza and all because of the multiple attempts didn't help. So yeah, so again, home ticket loss, we lost about $34,000. Parking made up part of that. We made about $4,000 or $5,000. Away tickets, we made a couple thousand. But ultimately, kind of tying into pushing membership's a gift that keeps on giving. So we want to continue that. One of the things as a treasurer that I've tried to do over the last couple of years is it took quite a while, but Huntington finally decided that we were a legitimate organization and they gave us a credit card. We started with like $1,500 through usage and then paying it off. We're up to about a $12,000 limit. My goal is to continue upping that so we can run as much of our expenses through the credit card as possible and pay it off. And Huntington also has kind of a reward system. So we'll get basically 1 or 2% savings on that. And that'll hopefully get us some additional cash and also preserve our cash flow by pushing our actual payments out by a month or so. Like I said, I liked the story the last 2 years a whole lot better than this year, but all things considered, we are positioned as well as we could be for the upcoming season. And just memberships.
Yep. Yeah. Worth mentioning with that $30,000 ticket sale, that was the genesis behind us both decreasing the number of tickets we bought and we negotiated a significant discount on. Is that my stealing your thunder?
No.
Okay, so we also negotiated a discount per ticket on those two. So I'm not saying that eliminates the risk of last year, but we recognize the pain that caused and we've reacted to it. So.
With the ticket sale, that's on par selling about 50 to 60% of the tickets. And it's been on par with it for years. The number of sellouts we had this year was obviously lower previously, but the different games that were added, it's been right on par. the challenge we had weather challenges. We also had the fact that our home schedule was so front loaded with crappy weather that if we go back and look at our ticket sales have historically gotten better as the weather increased and there were less things to keep people occupied during the spring. We were done with home games more or less by June.
Yeah.
With a couple spattering here and there. So again, the schedule did not do us any favors.
Brian?
I know in years past, we've discussed the potential, amending bylaws to allow for a corporate membership that is not owned in entity. Who's by the money that we're by soliciting our corporate funds or our corporate partners as sponsors. Is that something that the upcoming board would be open to revisiting at the discussion?
To go into when we're doing bylaw updates, yes. Yes, Chris. I know Emily was a part of that where we were doing that. Do you have more of that update? I know from the beginning of the season, we definitely did get a lot of the, it was Columbus Rec Youth Soccer, especially for a lot of those front running games. We had, I think it was Jeremy at Chris, we would donate. But Columbus Youth Soccer, there were a couple of games where we were able to work with one of our members who was a coach for that. And I know for at least 2 or 3 games, they had 4 buses worth of youth teams that came for those unsold tickets. So it's definitely something that we've continued to kind of work with to donate and get those. Yeah.
Match day side, as we got later into the season and we were in the summer months, we put a priority on really trying to push ticket sales because we were operating behind the eight ball. So oftentimes we were trying to push ticket sales well into the day before and try to hammer on the ground to try to offload as much as we could to avoid taking money.
So sort of my question is, I usually lost on that in my non-math rankings, unsold tickets. How much to make sure that
As much as we could make them not go to waste, yeah. Again, we would reach out and donate, especially beginning of the year. As the season went on, again, there was the push for that. And then the only problem with that, we have a list of contacts that we would reach out to and stuff, but a lot of them wanted, well, I want this 3 days so I know to organize and stuff. And as we're pushing those sales, knowing the night before and that, but yeah. Yeah, Brad.
So to your point, Chris, of the ticket, we had 1,440 tickets for the entire season that did not get sold. We donated 728 of those, which left 712 that were sold.
So of the ticket surplus, about half. That's not there.
Yeah.
We're also meeting with the promotional packages.
Right, yeah. And the weather and spring break and all the other.
Yeah.
On.
Brian.
So, kind of silly, I know there's a lot of interest from us. For Wednesday games, like, can we get a Nordecke ticket, get a free spot? Like, do our Wednesday, I'm like, oh, let's get.
We got coming back out the yard.
We do have some good, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something to look into. I won't speak.
No, I know, no,
Definitely.
But that's a good, yeah.
Money.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the shipping would be prohibited.
Pick up at the tailgate.
And then the Senate to come to tailgate.
Which is good, but then like the only problem with that is you can't take those cups into the stadium. So we could do what? Yeah, scarves or things like that. Yeah, we could do the t-shirts, stuff like that. But yeah, we can absolutely good idea. We can look into and work with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And then anything else online in here? We're gonna move on to the ticketing agreement that we've kind of started touching on. Thank you, bud. Round of applause for Money Man. Did Colin have to step out? Okay. Yeah, so we've kind of talked about the ticketing agreement. I know that we are at 150 tickets for all the regular season home games. They did work with us with, it's almost a 20% discount. We were pushing for a little bit more back and forth and negotiating with them, but
The disagreement was flat rate. We were not going to
Yeah.
get a discount.
yeah, so we're happy to work with them and get a discount. We kind of worked with Adam Green, who's been head of ticketing. I'll just say we had 1.5 hour in-person meeting, and then it was all email via correspondence. So that's always really fun with how willing they were to work with us. But we finally came to that agreement. He also did agree with us that we do have the north lot. Right now, we still have the same amount of tickets, although in one of the meetings didn't.
So throughout the season, there have been a push from match day to try to get 10 more spots for tailgate. We got assurances from some members of the front office. However, other members of the front office disagreed with that. We have continued to push in our front office meetings towards trying to get 10 additional spots in the tailgate lot, and we currently don't have resolution on that.
And I do know they did say that we get the north lot this year for the 50 agreed upon spots, as well as they had mentioned for next year. Now, things obviously can change. There could be update on contracts, projects, things like that where we lose it. But right now they have us this year and next year, although they did tell us for next year they would be increasing our cost of parking. I think it was $5, $2 per spot. So we'll continue to work with them and negotiate on that. But at least right now, for people that have kind of been on edge of that, we do have the north lot, at least right now, for the 2026 season. And 2027 as far as they've told us. But this year we have it at the same rate. So we'll be working with them. And we're still going to talk with them and continue to work as far as the construction equipment that was always fun to go with this year that took up half of our lot. And then we had to expand and do stuff like that. So Brad. As I cough into the microphone, sorry. Did we, I think we had the flat rate with that. I believe so, yeah. It was one. Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty the same as last year. Yeah. 39 and 44 was last year, and it's that same amount. I was gonna say, I couldn't remember the exact.
So while there's a double-digit percentage increase for season ticket members in the Nordecke, single ticket purchases for the Nordecke are flat year-over-year.
Yeah.
You guys giving that your increase are.
Yeah. Anyone else on that point? Questions, comments? Yes. Yes, ours include the first Leagues Cup game. Yes. Yep. Okay. All right. Next one here. I'm gonna. Okay. Front office. Who's doing that one? Okay. I'm gonna let you because you're more.
Sure. Okay, so we wanted to have a point to discuss just the general state of relationship with the front office going into this next season. One thing that has changed is Ty Phillips is no longer the supporter liaison officer for the crew. He's no longer with the organization. There is a new person in the same title of the position.
They have not announced it on socials or anything, and it has not changed on the website. So unfortunately, we are not able to do that.
I'll say that person is coming from the stadium ops security side of the organization, and is not, to our knowledge, has ever been a fan or a member of the organization. Right. So here, let me get through the bid and then we'll. So in our discussions with the front office, in our past 2 meetings with them, we have been told on both ends that the role of the supporter liaison is changing and that also it is not changing. And that we are to have more of our communications go through individual members of the front office and less through the supporter liaison, which is not how business has traditionally done. Through Ty's time in the organization, he was the overwhelming person that we would go through for most things. And then the minority of the time we would go through individual folks at the organization on specific needs. So what we're being told is to kind of flip that ratio. And then also being told that nothing is changing. That's thing one. Thing two is that with this new supporter liaison, we are being told that on match days, we will have no direct line of communication with them, and that all communication is to be done via email on non-match days. So just to kind of set where we were with Ty, Ty was kind of a lot of places. I know Ty was active in Discord ECA. Many board members would communicate via text when appropriate. We communicated via email, Slack channel with the Nordecke board. And for me, as someone who is active on match days and is on the drum platform, if I had an issue, I could text Ty because I cannot leave my post. I need to be able to access someone on match days. That is going away. So the new Ty, we are only to communicate via email. And on match days, we are supposed to go to the energy team, which are the group of interns that are around, or to the experience team, aka the blue shirts. Yes.
Favorite report, right?
Yes.
That all sucks. However, there are 30 of us in this room. We represent at least 1,100.
Sure.
Sometimes up to 3,000, generally around 20,000 people. What are they out there?
Right.
I think that, and I realize that I'm just now doing, you guys are standing up there, you have to make decisions, and you get the angry phone calls when you're trying to grab lunch on Thursday. I don't have to do that anymore. But I think that it behooves this organization as a duty to their members to disclose at least the fact that this new gentleman, whose name we're not allowed to say out loud, his title is coordinator of safety and security and not supporter liaison.
So, yeah.
The people that we all represent and speak for need to know that.
Right.
Because we're not the only ones that call Ty on a Tuesday with like, hey, what the fuck? Or hey bro, I've got a great idea. Or hey, I need help with this thing. Like, let's think about people that went to Ty for help with ABA things in Nordecke and just in general. They're gonna call the what's his title? Oh, sorry. They're gonna email. And I realize Carl's gonna say, well, email your ticket rep. Well, look, not everybody's a ticket rep. That's the problem. Is that you've raised so many prices that not everybody's a ticket rep. I think that long story short, I've rambled too long. I'm really passionate about this. We have to speak up and tell our members that the new guy is a stadium operations coordinator and not a family liaison.
I just also add on to that too, though, that as members of the organization, any head of supporter groups also needs to help make sure that that message is put out as well. Like the very first thing I'm gonna do back from anyone who talk shit is be like, hold on, this is XYZ thing is happening. So it's the same with Queen Dan, with Mafia, with Discord. Like we are also as heads of our own sorts, right? Within this umbrella of the organization, it's important that we are communicating the same standard, I suppose, then that we want the organization to as well. So like, I think that that's like a good call out of like calling, giving it to members, and that's gonna be like a place I want us also to start as like heads of board or heads of
Heads of families that make up.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're gonna know.
Right.
All right, hold on, Ryan, hold on. Ryan has a question.
To Chris's point, I don't want to speak out of turn here as I'm leaving my time on board. I'm hoping that the decision to make this public will eventually come once these things are solidified in the front office. But at the same time, I don't think this is a good plan on their end for anything that we do.
Well, and now we're first meeting, the official thing this.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me, those two different points. One, I hope that we will update our members once it is appropriate for us to be able to do that. Point number two, the whole idea of this communication problem is going to blow up in their face. Match 3. I don't know if that. So let them fall on their sword.
So with that, they have asked us in the December meeting.
Told us more.
Told us
That cards was sent, we did not.
this, which, let me remind you, is happening 3 days after US soccer comes in and hosts the She Believes Cup. So within that week, not only are we only doing email communication with Chai, they are having US soccer come in to take over the stadium, cover everything that mentions Scottsboro Field, Grow House, however you want to say it.
Row house.
Grow House and Columbus and everything like that, and take over if there's a this, I don't know, I have not discussed anything with AO yet, and hold that tournament. But then 3 days later, rip it down and get ready for our first home game. While we're coordinating our codes and Christmas Eve and Christmas and all that stuff. So that they said, let us run this way the first game and we'll see how it goes and assess after that.
Right. So here, let me interject real quick, then we'll get to questions. So to Chris's point, to Allison's point, first of all, Nordecke board and Nordecke organization didn't make this decision. And I think part of it is we're trying to get it out there as the start of everyone ramping up for this year. That one, we've told them directly, this is going to be a problem. This is unworkable for the following reasons. And part of today and starting moving forward is to communicate with everyone here who knows people who care about the Nordecke, even if they aren't in the room today, that this is important. The second thing is, it's important, I put this on the agenda here today because this is something that the Nordecke fought for. There was a major blow up that caused for this position to be created. And regardless of the assurances that are being, the things that are being asserted in meetings with the front office, this is a fundamental changing of this role. Because while I don't have an answer to the question specifically, I can tell you that at no point has it been communicated that this new person is going to be active in crew spaces that would allow them to be a liaison in the way that it was meant to be. So one, this is a starting point. Two is, it's on all of us to start to get the word out on this, and obviously the board's going to be a portion of this. But as mentioned, there are groups and official supporters groups and unofficial supporters groups. There are groups of friends that need to know that this relationship is trying to be changed by the front office. Okay. It is being changed. Sure.
I think we should encourage the FO to open a public text line. The ownership knows how to do it. They're using it when I
what I can say is that this is on the agenda for our next public meeting.
There's not going to be the time. It's like, say there's a problem in our section, there should be the text 551 meeting next Thursday.
Yes, this coming Thursday.
Let us know on Friday, so we can share them on Saturday.
Yeah.
When they can do it Saturday.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, that last week collectively then put that out because the meeting's 4:30.
4:30.
I say by all means, use the number they post in the stadium. Text for issue, overwhelm them. So
But I guess we could just text the number that's in Huntington's.
Yeah. We'll get the communication on. Yeah.
better safe than sorry.
Any other, okay, fun.
Future Pride.
All right, future Pride night. I'm gonna let,
Ron, and you got it? You got called?
Okay. Come on, hon. Coming over here?
Appreciate that.
Did you have Colin's notes?
Oh, I do have Colin. Oh, God, I didn't want to speak on the microphone.
Okay. So this is for Soccer for All. I have Colin's text message about it. So since he had to step out with his kiddo, we asked Molly explicitly to be open to a Soccer for All in addition to like a Pride Night situation. We volunteered to handle 100% of the Pride outreach and any volunteer requirements. The trade-off was that we would assist with the Soccer for All engagement, like you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, such as like school or student initiatives. Molly and the FO declined to take us up on that offer, and they are only going to stick with the Soccer for All. Colin literally put here, highlight that we will continue to push and bring this up with every opportunity. So it's not the end of it from us, but the conversation has been started. It just didn't go anywhere, unfortunately, but doesn't mean that it's over. And that's what he had texted me to say. I can try to field questions, but you got more?
Yeah.
Thank God.
So one of the comments that Molly made in that meeting, where she said that they would not be doing a Pride Night and they wouldn't really be increasing anything, was that, but we'll continue to support you guys in allowing you to do a Pride TIFO every year. First of all, fuck you. One of the things that I have talked about with TIFO is that if you look at what some of the other supporter groups around the league do that do what I consider like the best, they have like the best TIFO game, the ones that I kind of look at and be like, we want to get to that level and then pass them. They're not doing stuff that is centered around theme night schedules that their team does every year, or these calendar events like this. They work on like 1 or 2 displays through an entire season that are huge, and they change it up every season. So I want to be able to get to a place to do that. However, one of the challenges that we found with doing that is that it feels really difficult to step away from doing a Pride TIFO or a Hispanic Heritage TIFO or like insert thing here when the front office is not doing enough for those groups. I think if we were to not do a Pride TIFO, you would see very quickly like there's nothing going on. There would be no representation. There'd be nothing happening FO wise. So it's always a difficult thing. Like, do we continue to do this to make sure that there's representation while at the same time giving them cover to not do anything? Or do we withdraw from doing that so that we can do some of the other
We know how to set a thing on TIFO that's standing against what we're going against. We still have like a I'm sorry.
no, it's yeah. So every design that we do has to go to them to be approved. So there are things that we could probably like slip by that they wouldn't understand, but then you run the risk of like, is anybody going to see it? Is it going to do anything? So one of the things that we have talked about is really ramping up. I mean, I think Nordecke tends to do a good job. Like we march in the Pride Parade every year. We have a Pride themed tailgate. Like I think we have a lot of Pride Raiser. We have a lot of things that we do outside of that TIFO. So one of the things that we've talked about is not doing that TIFO with a very strong message that clearly communicates that why we're not doing it, and that it's that we refuse to give the team cover to not do anything. So that maybe a little bit more of the anger that the community has, like our Nordecke community has over a lack of Pride stuff, will be directed at the team because they no longer get to put our TIFO on their socials without using the word pride a single time.
It looked like we didn't do it. They won't put it.
But let's clear on that. We will never again, I'm sorry, play a game on Pride weekend.
That was my point with this year and the schedule changes.
Yeah.
We will never have a
That's
Thanksgiving game again.
That's the other thing that goes into that.
So we are looking into with that because and it hasn't been announced, but their predicted game is going to be on the back half of the season is all I'm going to say. I don't think
We'll say
we'll say sometime in August. Yeah. You look at the schedule and determine yourself with that one. But with that, do we do like we did a couple years ago where we had one in September and one in June? Because that game got moved. What would be a significant game or date or thing like that that would stand out that doesn't have to fall on either thing? Right, go ahead.
I understand the thought process behind reducing the amount of TIFOs in order to go bigger on those in general. That being said, I think we've established that TIFOs are a big way for us to celebrate members of our community. And by completely removing TIFO displays that do that, regardless if it's getting covered in the front office for any reason, we are removing our own voice to celebrate those members of our community. Something that we've done through AO in the past is crowd boys in the front section. They can't go across ADA, but they can go from the beginning of the center capital stand up and then back down. We've done that for the She Believes Cup last year, 2 years ago. So while I would be disappointed to see the celebratory TIFOs go, I understand where creative is coming from, and I would potentially like to propose that as a way to reduce burden while also allowing us to celebrate our members by rethinking how we utilize it.
Not surprised that a corporation has decided not to represent people that don't fit, but also that's why we exist. So we can represent the people that are in the same.
So the other thing I want to bring up is like, so let's say that you only do 2 weeks or something. I think we've seen enough evidence that FO start to fill that void with their own astroturf. And this has been a pain point this season. How do you deal with the things we want to do with the things that it feels like we're obligated to do, both from fan expectation and from front office pressure?
Well, for starters, I think they're going to do that anyway. They showed that they intended to do one on the same day that we had already planned a display last year, and I don't think that's going away. I think they will continue to try to do their own displays regardless of what we do.
And didn't we not
Until the day of. Yeah.
And I think the response, if I'm allowed to share, Norm, was.
I mean, I'll talk.
Was, what did you expect after what you told in Cleveland?
There was also an assertion that it was marketing, not anything you guys have to do. So why would you have?
This is now drifting back into like a creative EFO discussion. I want to go back to the more Pride Center discussion because that's what this was supposed to be. Thank you guys for the perspectives that you offered. That feedback is really important, and that's like no decision has been made yet because I want that kind of feedback. I want to know kind of the perspective of the people that make up this organization. But that's one thing that we're looking at. It just feels like such a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. Because I want to celebrate people, but at the same time, like I'm tired of our work being the thing that allows them to do nothing. And that people don't recognize that they do nothing because of what we do. So,
But also consider coming and marching in Pride with us. Get us to 100. Get us over 100. 100's the goal. Let's get half the fucking membership out there and be one of the biggest walking displays. And get to what we can do. Yeah.
So, yes, I agree with you that this is a good rallying call for us to be more vocal outside of the stadium. But I will say that those TIFOs get the most eyes out of a lot of the things we do. Those get seen by everybody in the stadium. They're a huge focal point when they go up, outside of the Nordecke, and they get shared around social media a lot. And I'm not discounting other things that we can be doing outside, but us as an organization have a huge amount of reach when we post these TIFOs, right? And so I just don't want to lose that through all of this discussion.
When it comes to Pride, because the last 2 years they've not had. I think we already do more than the front office does when it comes to Pride, because for the last 2 years they've not had a float in the Pride parade, but yet we have been in there. So I think that speaks volume kind of on where our values are versus where theirs are. So take that as you will.
all right. Other thoughts or questions regarding the future of Pride Games Columbus Crew?
That's all with that one. Kind of jump to bylaws. This one I'm going to kind of keep short and sweet. We have to do another change in bylaws. Thank you to the new calendar year. That's kind of the main point of this. We're in discussions right now, at least within the board, of having a couple of meetings. We're going to open that to membership community. Come out. We'll have that as an in-person thing. We want to prioritize on updating to match with the calendar year. There's a few other points we were kind of looking over. We've been looking over with getting clarification on things, and having everything match up. Once we have those initial meetings and prioritize, one, with matching the calendar year, that's the number one. But two, getting a couple other of those points, we'll let you guys know. And we want to have a couple meetings, at least one before the season kicks off, another one in those next couple months. And then we really want to hash out and get that done during the summer World Cup break, and have that updated. If you have questions, comments, things you want to add, please reach out to us, so we can prioritize that. This I want to do. I know, Chris, you're thinking, did you have a, yep. Oh, no, you looked like you were reading like that. So, okay. Old man adjustment. Okay, yeah. Yes, as I said, I want people to come. If you can come to one meeting, if you can't come to it, but you have ideas, send them to us. But we do want to get those updated and arranged. And that, Ryan, did you have?
Just a quick point that last time we did this, we did contact a lawyer who was able to help us. That was a lot of things that just needed to get updated.
Yeah.
But that might be something we also need to take a look at for that World Cup break, is making sure that the language is consistent with an organization of our size.
Yes. And another thing that we want to add to it is the updated mission vision statement. And I'm going to segue into that and read that real quick, because we haven't shared this publicly, because we were going to do a website update on that, but and we are still planning to do this on the website as the opening, kind of help with our branding, our tagline, mission, vision, and core values. We worked with, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Paul, and I'm going to mess up Paul's last name. I'm so sorry because it's complicated. Kacharian? What? Okay, did I? Okay, thanks. But he is an old school Hudson Street hooligan. He reached out to us because this was something we wanted to do to get a mission and vision statement. And Paul reached out to Ravi and I. We met at a tailgate. He had ideas for like a 3-step thing we wanted to do. We had some in-person meetings going over this. Again, this is one thing we want to get on our website to show when you go on there, who are we? What are we about? What does the organization do? And that. So let me read you The tagline we came up with, together we are massive. The mission, to passionately support the Columbus Crew, local soccer, and actively serve Central Ohio community, the Central Ohio community. And then core values, passionate. We bring relentless energy, creativity, and love for the Crew. Inclusive. Everyone is welcome in our community. Loyal. We champion our club, our members, and our city. Supportive. We uplift each other and our community. Community driven. Our strength comes from our collective action. Together we are massive. And then the vision itself. Someone remind me, did we do strengthens or empowers? Was it empowers? Thank you. To foster a vibrant soccer culture in Central Ohio that unites Crew supporters and empowers our community. I think that covers kind of everything that we stand for. We wanted to include not only just the Columbus Crew, but soccer, Central Ohio, and the community itself, how we come together and support and build up, inclusive, all the things you do. Jenna.
I'm gonna be right now, like that we're and we're doing everything. And not just like, I mean, thank you specifically, especially coming here today after the last 2 weeks, like showing your love for the Nordecke.
We love you and support.
This is
We
not
love you and
me,
support
this
you,
is
Courtney.
Everything. Okay.
What do I do with this?
Give it back.
Thank God. Thank God.
So that fills in. Anyone have any questions, comments, ideas about the tagline, missions, Ryan? Yes, because I think, and I'd have to go back in the notes with everything. I think the original mission statement from Crew Union back in the day was support Columbus soccer. But that was basically it, and it didn't quite describe everything we had, but and we looked in that and we wanted to really kind of pound it. So when you go to the website, our kind of opening page, we want to have tagline, vision, mission, core values, so you kind of see that and then can kind of go on and explore. And that's going to be one of the things that we're working on the website to have that main one. Ryan.
Because we know that we want to add this specifically, do we know yet if the bylaw updates will be wholesale or because we have to vote in order to change the
Correct.
bylaws? Are we planning on doing wholesale bylaw updates, all or nothing, or are we planning on breaking it out into individual points?
I think that one's going to be a discussion once we get into those meetings. So to be determined, because I don't want to speak and be like, I want it all. I want it section by section, but that's something we can bring into that.
Fuck ICE. Fuck Trump. Besides.
It's worth mentioning, by the way, the question got brought up a couple months ago about a fit to bylaws. The decision was made that it didn't feel like the outgoing board should do this as a lame duck effort. It would make more sense for the new board to do it. So that's kind of the reason this has not moved forward more at this point.
Anyone else with anything on bylaws, mission, vision? Yeah.
Visual learner, but there wasn't mention of the nonprofit aspect. Like there's nothing that says like we are a nonprofit that blanks. And in an effort to move the value of the Nordecke beyond just like you get cheap tickets to the games. Like I wonder if that should be more prominent to talk about like the fact that you're joining this community that gives you access without having to be part of like a faith-based organization or other avenues to do volunteer work and to, like you said, empower the Columbus community. And so I just wonder if that's like a missed opportunity to kind of explain like, this isn't just a supporter group. It's a literal nonprofit that is filed for that distinction, which matters. Yeah. And so I just wonder if adding like literally the phrase, like we are a nonprofit who, and then going into that would be beneficial.
And that's actually something that we can put under like the tagline, vision, mission, all that. And then under it, put like the Nordecke organization is a 501c7 nonprofit that, you know, and give that kind of explanation. It can be kind of one of the things at the bottom with that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Part of the challenge from a branding is when people hear nonprofit, they hear charity. And we are a nonprofit, but technically
We're
we're essentially a fraternal organization. So so whether as part of the bylaws, we think about potentially creating a charitable organization that would truly be a 501c3, but that's been a challenge of saying people hear nonprofit, they immediately think it's a charity, everything is tax deductible, and it's not. So there's probably a way to announce it without leading people down the path of it. We're a charity.
It was mentioned about the possibility of actually either becoming a 501c3 or adding a 501c3. And that is something that I've been looking into and have started some of the initial work for that process to see what it would look like and what it would take and whether or not it would be worth it. So more to come on that in the future.
I was just going to say, guys, this is a really interesting conversation that we could take for another 2 hours, but we're already over time here. They were generous enough to give us another 15 minutes, and we have at least one position that's running with multiple candidates. And I think we definitely want to make sure we have time to hear from Kevin and Courtney in terms of that too. So I'm going to suggest we put a pin in this for the time being and move forward, if that's okay with everyone.
We're not there yet. No. Okay. You guys have heard enough from me. I want to just make sure Kevin has his chance to speak so that he gets his full time in, and then I'll go. So Chair Kevin, if you want to step up and then let him speak first.
All right. This has been a mostly positive meeting, I would say, so I'm sorry to be a downer about the next few minutes. First question, my name's Kevin Clark. A lot of you are probably wondering why you would vote for me over Courtney and all of the amazing things she's done the last few years on her board service. And to my mind, there's really only one answer to that, and it's subscribing to my near-term outlook for what's going to happen here and what we need to do about it. And my near-term outlook is that we are, for lack of a better, we're on the brink of open warfare with the billionaires and the front office. And we do not have the army to fight them as currently constructed. And there are a few things that I would say to kind of illustrate that. When I applied for this position, it was 36 hours before the application window was closing, and 3 of the 5 positions had no applicants, including the chair. We have 4 of the 5 positions that do not have any opposing candidates. And respectfully, I don't think closing down communication channels to engage members was the right decision. I'm not on Blue Sky, but I did pull up Blue Sky this morning to take a look. And last month, there have been 6 key posts about what's going on. So there was a post about upcoming board meetings, post about this meeting, a post about the dates when applications would open and close, an announcement that applications were now open, an announcement that we had a cure period because partnerships didn't have anybody, and then an announcement of the final slate. On those 6 posts, there were a total of 6 interactions. All of those to me are indicators that we can get as many members as we would like, but if we don't change the mindset within the membership to consider volunteering as a privilege and opportunity rather than an obligation, that it doesn't really matter what we do. As soon as the owners decide that they want to take over what we're trying to do, we're not going to be able to put much of a fight. So how it should look, in my opinion, and how it has looked in other volunteer roles, The last one I started in was 3,000 members. We had 4 people volunteering in that organization when I started. 2 years after I started, on the same idea of we need to build up our pipeline of people, that had gone from 4 to 18. A year later is up to 26. It's now blown past 30, up to 40 on the executive team with a bunch of local leaders in different communities as well. And it's a lot of grassroots hard effort to eventually tip the mindset among people, because right now we have a general idea of volunteering is somebody else's problem. And it's a lot of work, and I respect the hell out of the current board for everything they've done with the lack of support that they've gotten. I respect the hell out of Brant for 2 years in a row. He has stepped up and said, literally, nobody else is willing to do it, so I guess I'll do it. But that to me is still a problem, because it should not be out of obligation. It should be out of opportunity.
What are your
First 3 calls would be, and not to put them on the spot, call 1 would be to talk to Colin and Bethany about their vision for communications and figuring out a way to potentially reopen some channels and make sure that their vision for how we communicate with the 950 people that are members is harmonious across multiple ways. And then calls 2 and 3 would be to Courtney and Alicia to ask them to be executive directors with me, because I would need their institutional knowledge and reputation among us to get things started. But it is a lot of really tough one-to-one conversations or few-to-one conversations to get people to buy into that new vision and try to get them to start getting to a point where they say, I've got 2 hands, 3 to 4 hours a week or a month. I'm willing to help. Tell me what I can do. It's called the Next Gen. So I'm a financial planner. That's my main job. Similar to Nordecke, it was founded 15 to 20 years ago by 12 people that were young financial planners and had no support network, and said we need to build it. It doesn't exist. It grew up to 3,000 people. We had, for our entire history, an uneasy relationship with a much larger organization that's 17,000 members and a 7-figure bank account. And they got it into their mind around the time when I started that they wanted to just absorb our organization, take over our treasury, appoint their own leaders, determine how money was spent, what we couldn't do. And because of the work that I did, we were able to successfully fight that off.
So I want to start with that. I agree with a lot. Members into the leadership pipeline to have that a lot. However, it seems like one of the key issues that you have is the decision. I don't understand it very.
It's not something I would have done, but it's not the main thing. It's
What other communication?
X would be one, but a lot of it is, Paco, you kind of mentioned more community events where we get people together, and especially a lot of one-to-one or few-to-one dialogues with some of the most influential people in our community to listen and hear what are their pain points, or why are they not volunteering or encouraging people to volunteer. It's a lot of really thankless work. And I'm not saying the board has not done that. They definitely have. But the message doesn't seem to really be resonating as far as how we talk about volunteering and how we ask people to volunteer. And that's what I would try to change.
I would be very strong.
Follow as well.
Mhm.
That would definitely be a battle that you would have the fight.
Yep.
Could you talk a little bit about your volunteer experience in the Nordecke over the past seasons? I know it's a big platform for you for 2026. For 2025, where was what kind of places were you volunteering this season?
I need to take a year off after 2024, candidly. So I did show up to some of the board meetings. I did my best to stay aware of what was going on, and to talk about a lot of these things with people in my network, especially things like the flag policy and pride and all of these things where we've butted heads. I've already mentioned the whole thing about how we have a literal security guard now as our supporter liaison. Most of my volunteering was in 2024 alongside Bud with the Pachuca trip and other Norantor stuff. But yes, I have had limited interaction this year.
Going about your experience, other than this past year, your site, I know you obviously might not be aware of where you were in 2024 and 2024.
Yeah, so I applied for travel director position for 2024. Bud crushed me, so if I can get over 15% in this election, that's an improvement. I learned a lot alongside Bud, and I learned a lot from going to the meetings and just hearing what the other directors were doing. When it came to the Pachuca trip, he and I pulled our plan together communally. He was not able to go on that trip, so I was the one responsible for making sure everybody got home, which was a challenge due to the language barrier and the fact that the buses were not where they were supposed to be. I go to a lot of Norantor matches, so that was the main thing that I did. But also we had obviously a lot of really big contentious things that were happening at that time with bylaws and tickets and everything that we've kind of talked about here. While I couldn't vote on anything, I did make my voice heard on a lot of them.
I have a quick question. So you bring up some interesting points about kind of the outreach to members, and I think you outlaid kind of a multi-pronged approach of some kind of mass communication, whatever social media channels that might be, and as well as some personal communication. One of the issues that we've heard for a long time about Nordecke is there's this perception, be it accurate or not, that this is kind of an old boys club. Like if you're part of the core group, you're beloved, you're known, and it therefore becomes exclusionary to new folks from kind of joining. So, thought is kind of, you're doing kind of independent outreach to kind of one to one or one to few. Does that perpetuate that, or how would you, if a member had that question, how would you react? What would be your response to that?
I live that. So I'm a relatively new crew fan. I jumped on board in the middle of 2015 when a friend of mine from college invited me to a game. Got hooked immediately. Knew very little about the Nordecke or supporting in general at that point. So I observed the first few years. Obviously got the worst kind of interaction a couple years after that. But to answer your question, I do think that is a deterrent for a lot of people because they just don't understand what we do and all the amazing things that we do to impact the community beyond having a kick-ass game day environment. So it is a lot of education, but it's more so I always start the conversation by asking what they know about us or what they wish we would be able to do more of, and lead into that conversation. And it's a lot of conversations that end up running dry or take multiple conversations. It's hard work, but it's a lot of re-educating on the amazing things we do and how they can plug in whatever way they want to.
All right. Anything else from that? We've got our time. I want to think if we do just a quick little this real quick. Kevin, do you have anything else you want to? Okay. Yep. First off, I want to say thank you, Kevin, for coming up, introducing yourself to people that may not know you. You've heard me talk a lot today. And obviously 2025 was a very big challenge with about 70% of the new board being new directors voted in and onboarding them. We faced a lot of challenges this year, and it was a lot of learning and growing and things we could have done different. But at the time, with information we had and sources and things like that, you know, not everything was perfect, not everything was great. Speaking on Kevin's point with engaging people in this, I will say we have a great group of volunteers here, but we can obviously grow that and get more people involved and do better. One thing that Norm and I and others have talked about for a very long time is that all of us, and you can reference this as my crazy clock lady days, we all have a time limit on the time we're able to volunteer and go out and capo and go out and drum for 17 games a year and bend down and need a chiropractor for painting tifos and going to community events and working all of that. We need to really engage and grow within the stadium, within the Columbus community, and get the younger generations to come out. I know most people, if someone comes to a tailgate, hey, go get a beer and this, and are welcoming. If you're standing next to someone and they don't know the chants, here, pull it up on here and do that. I think we definitely need to increase and do that. And I think because some things that deter people away, and as much as we don't want to speak on it, is some of the pettiness and little things we get angry about and doing stuff like that. And that deters people because they see kind of the inner things that people get upset about, people get defensive and stuff like that. And we just can't have that. In the world today, with everything going on, there's so many bigger issues than some of the soccer pettiness and this and that. Especially with the horrendous stuff happening. And I don't want to get into political, but with ICE and stuff like that and protecting our members and our Hispanic groups, La Tribuna Amarilla and LaGuardia 96. We need to look out for each other. As Ravi said, when you're in this group and you meet these amazing people, we're a family. And things in perspective, we all want to go to a soccer game, uplift our boys and watch them win and go home safe. We need to let go of the pettiness, and there's not a correct path or way to do it, but self-reflection, working with people. When GCG Bag has volunteer events and they're raising funds, get the word out. If you can't donate to them, help them. If you can't come paint for TIFO because you've got a crazy life, repost it on your wall. Get people, this is a really fun experience. Bring kids out. Kids love doing that kind of stuff. They come to a game. We've gotten kids on capo stands. It's core memories for them they can look back on and their parents love and see, look at that. When I grow up, I want to go up and be a capo. When I grow up, I want to be, we're all Paco. Halftime, go over to Norm and them. Hey, can I bang on a drum for 5 minutes? Get a little video and they were on that drum platform. Creating those memories and reaching out and getting that engagement of people, bringing the positive experience in game day is gonna expand out into the community so we have more volunteers at community events. Partners in the city are gonna see what joy we're bringing to people and how we're impacting Columbus and the surrounding communities and soccer and wanna be involved with us. We had, like I said, this partnership group reach out to us and wants to be involved, wants to build us up within their businesses and get more people involved. I think once we solidify that, that's going to be a huge thing, and building on partnerships beyond just restaurants and breweries. Get more of those family-friendly ones. There's lots of different things I can say and do. I have an entire biography since elections are open. You can go read it if you have an hour. But again, it's uplifting each director, uplifting all the supporters groups. And you don't have to be in a supporter group to be part of Nordecke. Nordecke is a supporter and fan collective. Even when you don't have positive things to say, you have things that you need to air your grievances of. Reach out to a director. Now, don't come screaming in their faces and do stuff, but ideas, ways to improve, avenues, ideas, we want to hear them, because if we keep it all within ourselves, we don't want this community to die. And I was a Girl Scout, so I was always taught, leave something better than when you found it. And I believe nobody wants this organization to fail. Nobody wants this organization to end when our time is up. So I have my list of accomplishments, things that I've learned, things that we want to grow and do. This is a fresh start. We have a new coach. We have a great assistant coach coming back if you haven't seen Coach Laurent. You know, we have healthy players coming back. This is a new season. It's a new opportunity. This is our happy escape in our amazing spot, and we want to keep it growing and keep doing stuff. As Kevin said, for years on, I've been a firm believer when someone runs, bring them in. If you and I win, I'm not going anywhere. Sorry, you're going to be stuck with me whether you win or I win, but I'm going to be around. I hope Kevin's around. And just thank you guys again all for coming. Thank you everyone online who took the time to be here. We're massive. Let's go Crew. The 20th, yep. It opened. Yeah.
Elections are now open, and everyone got an email the moment that AGM started instructing them how to vote.
In one sitting, yes, I have. Oh, have you ever eaten a whole bowl of queso? Hold on. Do what? One question? Midnight on the 19th. Sorry. Yes. So 11:59 on the 19th, you have that last minute to get your vote in. So
for Courtney, what's the one biggest thing you would either continue doing from 2025 or like stop and change going forward?
what would I continue or what would I stop?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. The number one, like main, or just one thing. One thing, I want to continue to support our directors. That's my role. And I very much have the mentality of with the board, it's a we, not me. So when there are tough things to make decisions on that people come to me like, well, what do you think? I'm like, well, we need to bring this to the group and collective because this is a we, it's not about me as the chair. I don't have, and a lot of people, that was a fun thing that Ty asked me. He's like, you don't have a gavel to just like make an executive decision. I'm like, no, I'm just the tiebreaker on votes. If it comes to that, I'm just this. But we get different directors from different groups, from different areas of life and stuff like that, because we want those different perspectives. We reach out for advice from our members and supporters and stuff because we want those different views and ideas that we may not have and thinking bigger. So I want to continue with that, to have that we, not me mentality, where when we have organizational decisions, we talk it out, we hear the good points, the bad points, different ideas, and then as a group, what would be best for the collective, for the organization, and most importantly, for our members.
All right. Most important question of the day. Need you both to answer it. Will you, if elected, commit to being Gambino for at least one game?
Yes, as long as it's one of the first games, because I don't want to be in it in July when it smells like alcohol and Doritos and probably some type of urine and stuff. So I know, but I've seen some of the people that've been inside Gambino. Yeah. So I would, and I'm immune compromised, so I definitely have to be in it one of the first games, just saying. So unless you want me to die, which maybe some people do, but yeah. Norm.
Well, first
of all,
all right, so 2026 World Cup is coming up, which means that there's going to be a lot more eyeballs on both soccer and therefore the Crew. And it's an opportunity for us to get more people engaged in the organization, more people out to Crew games, and to get more visibility both within Central Ohio and a little bit beyond that. So I guess I'd say, like, for both of you, how do your visions, like, how do you view that both as a challenge organizationally, because we have games the first half of the year, and then you're asked, there's going to be a lot of manpower, a lot of work that goes into that. And then in terms of what you would do for it.
So we've kind of already been in discussions about supporting our supporter groups. If they have, we definitely want to do watch parties. I know the front office said they may do watch parties, but they may not. They're kind of doing a play of, if they decide they're going to do some test runs and see if the engagement would be worth it, which is silly. But we want to support supporters groups and any of our partnership breweries that want to have watch parties and supporting them and doing stuff like that. So that's one of the initiatives we have. And with those watch parties, again, set up Nordecke memberships. Why is this game important? I'm also really banking on Max Arfston's hair to engage people, since it's perfect no matter what. No, but it's definitely a time to strike to get people involved, not only with falling in love with the game of soccer, but falling in love with crew. Come out to a game. Here, you see this beautiful specimen of a human who's sweating, but his hair isn't moving. Come to a game. And you can see him play right here live and all of that. You see Steven Moreira, well, we've got a chant for him. Come see him run his ass off up and down and be, our ex-MLS Defender of the Year. We're keeping him.
Is Wesam a part of that outreach strategy?
Well, pardon me, but he's doing his part to get around Columbus to get people to games, particularly the female population. If you know, you know. So we're banking on that as well for him to continue that. Well, when that man showed up, I believe it was Paco, and I'm going to quote Paco, that said, "That man fucks." And, all joking aside, though, this definitely is a year and an opportunity with World Cup, with our players engaging in multiple teams. Get the excitement, strike it, get people involved, get them to come to games, see what we do there, and build and grow from there.
I'm personally planning to travel to some of the host cities during the World Cup. The difficulty with the World Cup that we see every several years is you get a ton of people that are interested in watching the USA, and then they go out of the tournament and people throw away their gear for another 4 years. I do agree that it's a great opportunity to have community events, whether they're watch parties, whether they're town halls. Those can be ways to engage with members that typically may not come to some of these events, or especially people that, to Curtis's point, are not members and may have some beliefs about our organization that are not true. So I think it's a great opportunity to connect with people, to start those conversations about what we represent and what we do. Ultimately, the biggest selling point, I think, always, from what I've heard, is just the amazing energy and atmosphere that we have at games. So if we can even just make it a mutual responsibility to talk about what a great atmosphere we have here and get people who haven't to come out to a game, I think that alone will hook in a ton of people and get them excited about possibly being more than just a member and more than just somebody that shows up to games.